That's one thing I don't have to worry about.
All right. 7 o'clock on the dot. Y'all ready? All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. We have all members present tonight. I don't want to hear about it. I forgot all about a football game tonight. Longhorns aren't in it. I was like, yeah, championship's over with. All right, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father God, thank you for allowing us to join tonight. And Father, we just ask that you keep each and every one of us on task for the city business and make the best decisions possible for the citizens of Bartlett. Father, I just thank you for getting us all here. Just ask you to get us all home. Thank you for getting the citizens here that are in house tonight. And then we ask that you just lead us, guide us, and direct us. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, nobody signed up for any citizens communication tonight. And so we'll move on down to the boards, commissions, committees, presentations, and proclamations. Cemetery Committee monthly update.
We're gonna have a whole lot going on right now. But everything else,
Weather and holidays.
trying to collect it over nice trees and flowers out there. There's a couple of people prepared that too. They'll have their own.
Yes, sir. All right. Tyner Memorial Library Board monthly update. We have our two Tyner Memorial Library. You have any updates there for us on the library, Mr. AP?
Yeah.
Been a good month.
I'd like to thank y'all for what y'all have contributed over there to our library. I just encourage our citizens to use your public library. And if you have any suggestions that can make the library better, we are open for suggestions. And the library has more than with just checking out books. Come by there, we've got programs going on that can help our citizens here.
So y'all have workforce commission there.
Workforce commission.
They'll help with resume building and stuff like that.
Thursdays. And also, we also have fax and a printer.
Computers available.
Other things that can help the community.
Absolutely.
Laptops.
We also have laptops that can be used there anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for what you are doing over there. You've got your book report.
Thank you.
You did good. Thank
I would
you.
like to say something in his defense as far as he's been working to other things that come up. He was telling me today that there were boxes of books that were dropped outside.
About 5 or 6 boxes.
And it rained on it.
Oh.
You know, and of course it would be up to him as the sole person there to try to get them in and to look them over and see if they're usable. Well, after they've been rained on, we can't add them to our catalog. And we would not really feel good about putting them out there for free if they're damaged, is what I'm saying. And so all we can do is throw them away. And he had several boxes of books that he had to lug in that were no use because weather damage. So you know, asking if you wanted some articles put in the paper about things like that, or what maybe we should do. But, it's a shame just to, and I do understand a lot of people, I think that the returns, and you feel like somebody else can use it. Okay, when you buy, okay, when the library's open.
We-
Or else it's shut.
We can message that out we can message that out so people know. If you'd like to donate to the library, make sure it's when the library is open, or if not, come to City Hall, and then we can take them over there.
Very good.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
We'll work on that.
Thank y'all. Municipal Development District, monthly update. Dan came by my house a little while ago and said that he couldn't make it tonight to give the update, but they did meet last month due to the holidays and some sickness in the group. They will meet tomorrow night. They're scheduled to meet tomorrow night. Let's hope they have a quorum. It's been kind of tough to get some quorum through lately, but we do need volunteers. We need volunteers. I mean, they'll take volunteers any day of the week over at the library to help them out. We need volunteers to be on the library board. We need volunteers to be on the MDD board. We just need volunteers. Talk to your friends, neighbors, anybody, everybody, mailman, whoever. Next, we have Parks and Facilities Committee monthly update. Nothing. December's a hard month to do anything. And number 5, the James M. Grant Citizen of the Year Awards. So a couple years ago, we city council elected after Mr. Grant's passing, which was about 3 years ago this month. I think it's already been that long. Mr. Grant was former mayor of the city of Bartlett for a couple terms. Very involved in the city politics, in the fire department. He's a long-time member of the Bartlett Volunteer Fire Department. We lost him suddenly about 3 years ago after a really brief and quick illness that took him from us way too soon. James was a good man, and at that time, shortly after his passing, the council elected to do the James M. Grant Employee of the Year Awards annually, and the James M. Grant Citizens of the Year employees annually. And so we did the Employee of the Years at the employee Christmas party a couple of weeks ago, and that was Miss Brenda and Miss Alice, and we just couldn't narrow it down, just couldn't pin it down to one person. So this year we went with 2, and we're also going to do the same thing this year with our Citizens of the Year Award. And so invited both of these members here tonight to be with us to give a library report and also collect some hardware to go home with. So, so we want to this year. This year, we've elected to give it to both Mr. Andrew Mitchell, who's on JP. He's the man that's kind of kept the library going, and also his counterpart, Miss Dina Shipley. So, well, I've known Dina since almost the day I moved to Bartlett, like 13 years ago. One of the very first people I met when I moved to Bartlett. So I've known her my whole Bartlett tenure. 8 years, it's been a blessing. The funny thing is, we didn't want to Bartlett citizens.
I live on the fence.
They want to live on the fence. They want to live right outside the city.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, we couldn't operate the library without them, so we're just blessed to have them.
How many years did I live in Barton before I moved out here?
You guys are part of it.
Well, I remember the people.
Yeah. She's living in the house across the street from me. When I lived in town, they got that house on the corner of Jackson and Lucy.
You been here that long?
Well, I haven't been here that long.
I remember that house. I remember you.
We love you, man.
I appreciate it.
I know, you came the other day, you told me, I don't want to get no line, why, everything like that. Get over it. Y'all come on in.
Well, thank you so much.
We appreciate everything y'all do.
This is really a surprise. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes.
We just gave you the book. So we already wrote the report.
Well, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
On the table out here, your names will be added to that type and will always be playing City Hall.
Thank you.
That modest man, so.
Well, we're gonna do all at the employee Christmas party also, but you couldn't get here, so we postponed it a little bit. But thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for the citizens of Bartlett.
I didn't know all that other.
It was great seeing the AP so surprised out there. That was, we did good on that one. And y'all don't have to stay for the whole meeting. You're welcome to go whenever y'all want. You can stay, but Ricky said, I'm out of here. All right, we're moving on to the consent agenda. This is the one where we'll get all one motion, or y'all can pull things out to talk about. Item number 6, receive monthly department reports. City Administrator, City Secretary, Municipal Court, Development Services, Utility Billing, Public Works, and Police. And item 7, approve minutes from the following meeting, 12/11/2023 regular meeting. Mr. Weaver made a motion. Okay.
Which items would you like to pull?
I discussed, well, the one I thought, I don't want to go the Christmas party.
Let's pull 6A and 6F if that's all right with you. And then y'all can make a motion on the rest of it. 6F will be the ones you pull. So if you'd make a motion to pull, accept consent agenda, except pulling 6A and 6F, and then we can discuss those after the vote.
Public Works, is it?
Yep, mine and then Public Works.
Okay.
So City Administrator and Public Works. So we'll pull those out to talk, have some discussion, but y'all can go ahead and make a motion to approve everything else.
Yeah. you can.
Okay. So Shelton seconded already. Yeah. You're an Adrian. All in favor of that? That carries 5-0. So now we can move into talking about 6A and 6F. So that's City Administrator and Public Works.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was looking at, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Christmas party, it was great to do that. But I was looking at the money we spent just for food, and I know we spent probably close to $1,000 or more for gifts. I just think that we could think, we got better places we can use that money, and number one would be with our employees. To give them the Christmas bonus, instead of spending it on food. I mean, it may not be with $200, $250, but that's more than we're giving now. And we're talking about trying to retain our employees and start giving them a little bit more. It's equal. That's just my opinion. That way, they all get something out of it. Not all of them got one of the prizes, and that just didn't sell well. It's really their part. Well, we need to take care of it. Everyone's doing work, not us.
So what Mr. Gilmore is saying is, instead of spending the $3,000 or $4,000 on the Christmas party for the baskets and the meals, you'd rather see that money divvied up and given out to the employees, equal shares to each employee. They already get a longevity bonus, something completely different. But as
So they're guaranteed they'll hire.
yeah, so as just an annual Christmas bonus rather than doing the Christmas parties. Any questions, talks, concerns?
I think you still do the party, but I just think there's still so much money in the party, I think you would be put them on the spot.
Just for food, that's right.
How much for food?
two checks to Red and White for almost $35.
One of those was,
One was for Thanksgiving,
No,
I believe.
one for the meal and one for the basket.
Oh, that's what it was. Wasn't there one for Thanksgiving too?
they did do a
There was a delayed payment for the Thanksgiving meal too.
That was $287.
Yeah, that one wasn't that bad.
That ain't part of it.
that's some $100 ribeyes, damn.
Dang. But the shrimp, those are good.
The shrimp
Don't
and
get me
money.
wrong.
Yeah.
So I just, when I saw those numbers, I was like, wow. I said, $100 barbecue pit up here and put some hamburgers for them and feed them in the afternoon before
And they'd appreciate that just as much.
Yeah. And we can work.
Well, I know somebody's got a griddle to help with that.
Who's got the Blackstone?
Mr. Barbecue,
Barbecue pit.
Too.
Hey, I done Picadillo and everything from once before.
What we could do is in the, since the next Christmas party will hit in the FY25 budget, we can look at adding that as a discussion item whenever we start doing budget workshops to see, how much money council would like to allocate. And then we can divvy it up at the end of the year to employees.
Even for next year, we can still do
Yeah, it's true.
it. We can have it with 2025.
If you wanted to do a mid-year bonus of some sort.
No.
No, 24.
2024 Christmas.
Well, yeah. But in the fiscal year, that's 2025
Oh, right, I
budget.
got
Yes.
because it starts in October.
Yeah.
You're with it.
I thought that was a lot of money to use for their employees.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't need anything, and it is all about the employees. I mean, they're out there tonight after hours cutting down a tree that fell and blocked the road. That's 3 guys that already gone home for the day, probably in their heated houses, and got called right back out to go chop up a tree. So 4 guys.
Let me ask you a question. How many people were there at the food party? Just guessing. That's food with their families.
How many meals did we order?
We had an original count of people who confirmed was 60? And how many showed up was not that amount.
They don't over here.
It was like 30, if that.
Right. I think that might be.
Yeah. So we had people who confirmed that weren't there. And we planned for who confirms, right? That's last thing we want to have is not enough food.
That's the other problem. With it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of food you don't have. Somebody else.
Oh yeah, no, they took it home. We made sure of
One way
it.
they did get a Christmas club.
Yeah.
But yeah, something to really think about when we start sitting down in August and start talking about budget.
We'll start talking about it a lot earlier. than that.
June, July, August, sometime around there, early summer, when we start talking about budget. It's something to keep in mind. Is that, I mean, I'm not opposed
Let's
to
think
it.
about it.
Council
We already
decision.
need increases in salary this year. And probably trying to retain these guys.
We're trying to retain them, and we're at a risk of losing some guys right now that are.
The world we're living in right now, we're paying them. You can pick a trash on top of
One Bucky's paid on that. All right, thank you, Shelton. And
6F Public Works.
6F Public Works.
I was just hoping that we had, some documentation on the total footages and locations when we did the right of way. And so we have it for the future,
That tree trimming.
yes, the tree trimming, and also our plan for the next round, we need to start planning that now.
So, Stephen, do you want to talk to? I know we don't have a map right now, but we could probably get one together.
Yeah, I can.
Of everything
we
that got
have a
hit?
map that we built together. We drove around with the new map that was off blew up, the same thing we already made, and we to another one. I'm sure it'd be no problem getting them over here, getting that map, so we can try to get some kind of footage out for whatever was cut, and then to continue on to the ones that obviously that didn't get cut, and stay on top of what they did.
One thing, and I'm new to this, so I understand,
Yes, sir.
when we hire contractors, we work collectively, you have to keep track of those students.
Okay.
That you know what you're getting done, or they're really doing what you're wanting.
Yes, sir.
If you're not watching, things change. Everybody else.
I will add also, Stephen, we got bad weather headed our way next week. And I know you've already started working on it. I just want to just make sure that we've got everything in line we got all outdoor water, all of our parks and Facilities, winterized, drained off, swimming pool equipment.
Yes,
Becky Caldwell, the restrooms at the park. Let's make sure we're winterized. Let's make sure all of our above ground pipes and check valves, you know, the RPZs are all insulated. I know we got some, the little well at the truck shed, the big well, let's make sure that's insulated. Let's make sure we got heat going in the booster pump room. And make sure we have plenty of fuel. I think Myra already said y'all have plenty of fuel lined up. Make sure we got plenty of diesel, because if power does go out, the gas stations go out. So we don't want to be caught without diesel or gas to get around. So make sure we have plenty of diesel, gas. Let's make sure we have all the chainsaws going, plenty of chainsaw fuel, bar oil, chains, bars. Make sure the little pole saw's going. Believe me, I mean, we just saw a tree fall, a big old tree fall a while ago right in the middle of the road. Trees will fall.
How many chainsaws do we currently have?
I know for sure 4.
Okay.
I don't know how many of those run. I can go do a double check on that tomorrow. I know there's a couple of them in the bucket trucks that need to get pulled out anyway. They
Yep.
started up and we'll get the tree stuff rolled up and make sure I know we got plenty of fuel on the trucks for them. I got your oil and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
Let's run a test on our generators, on our 3 generators at our 3, you know, at our wastewater lift stations.
That's already, I've been done.
Make sure we're topped off on fuel. Make sure because that one, you know, 2-3 years ago, it snuck up on everybody, and I mean, I think everybody was caught their pants down, and we could have been. We were in pretty bad shape, but we just don't want to. We don't want to get there again.
Have we ordered? There was something that you had mentioned that would warm up
Yes.
pipes.
Yes, the cable.
Yeah.
It's like an extension cord, but it's heated and it's got a thermostat on it built into it where when it gets below a certain temperature, it'll kick on itself, and when it gets to a certain temperature of heat, like high, it'll come back on.
Yeah. So if we haven't ordered those already,
We have them ordered, but they have them all. They have them at Home Depot. They
All
have
right.
them online. You can do whichever one.
we'll get it tomorrow or something.
Make sure both backhoes are up and going. I know that one doesn't get used a whole lot, but
They both got maintenance about a week ago.
okay, that's perfect. And then bucket trucks. I know we've been fighting getting keys on the bucket trucks. Let's try to figure out how we're going to get that resolved and get the other bucket truck. The squirt bucket, if it's got a hydraulic leak, it's pretty much out of commission. We need to find somebody to fix it. And the mid-size, the dead batteries, let's get them fixed. And the big one, let's get that going, because you know if we have to call in somebody for some assistance, they're going to need to use that equipment.
Correct.
Digger truck, if we can find a key, if we can figure out where the keys are, breaking it. I mean, I don't
I
know.
started breaking into it already, and it was not impossible. The battery's dead on it, apparently, too. So I went to go push the little unlock button on it, it wouldn't work. And the way the panel's shaped out on it, you can't get to it from the top, either to pull the door in or out. So we've been looking online. I talked to International in Waco. They won't cut a key for it. I've talked to a place out of Florence, another place in Gerald, and nobody will touch it. I don't know why. I don't know if they think that we're just trying to steal it, or what's told me the city must have given title for it, and all that kind of stuff. I can't get nobody to touch it.
All locks and
To open the door.
what they will do.
Yeah. Well, that's the 2 words. The one that was locks me out of Florence, and the other one locks me out of Gerald.
That's a good one out of Belton, probably.
You know what I mean?
Somebody.
I'll be named, I'll give you more.
Jesse can break into one in about 13 seconds.
Hey, have at it. Because I want to get into it, but there might be a key in it somewhere hiding.
It's over at the warehouse, the Public Works one.
I think you need to check all the pickups, because the 9 that we went over here and they fixed up a line over here by the cooler. All those keys were here.
Jimmy grabbed them.
Oh, when Jimmy grabbed them from the
Yeah.
council.
So what I would do is I'd go check all those trucks, make sure they're not down under the seat, because they were all there. If I moved every one of the trucks over there, and I had all those keys there.
So there's somewhere here.
I would check in the pickup, the little Dodge truck, whatever it was, Jimmy was driving. And just make sure
That little red Dodge, you know, that nobody sees. You don't see
The little black one?
a black one, red.
Yeah. Black or red?
I mean, they done-
Whatever color.
The one that sometimes has the trailer hooked up to it.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start carrying.
I really would, because they could very well be in those trucks.
Because we moved that digger, right?
It was parked here
Yeah,
after the
so
guys
we
left.
have the key.
It was parked here after the guys left, and Philip moved it down there. But the night that Raphael's house
Yeah,
is when Philip gave him all the keys to all the equipment said here, because we were in the middle of a meeting. And so,
Yeah.
But yeah, they took off with all the keys.
We'll keep looking.
Another one is the service truck. I know is it still at Tim's?
First, I still have the electric truck?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
the flatbed.
Yes, sir.
We need to figure out what's up with it. If they can give us a report of what's wrong with it, so we can find somebody who will work on it. I don't understand why Tim's not working on it. He's worked on all of our vehicles for the last 37 years. I don't know what's going on with this one, but we need to figure out why he's not working on it or what's going on. And if he's not going to work on it, we need to get it out of his yard and get it somewhere where they will work on it and get it back on the streets. And then this little dog catcher mobile out here.
Yes, sir.
I hate to see you driving around your personal truck on the city time. If an accident happens,
Yes, sir.
you're not covered under our TML insurance on that truck, on that vehicle. It's not covered under our insurance. If an accident happens,
You're on our clock, you don't do something.
Yes. yeah, it's they're gonna come after you and your personal insurance, and the city can't really do a whole lot to help you. So I hate to see you driving your personal truck on the city time. I'd rather see you in the flatbed or this little thing right here cruising around in the city of Bartlett. So just keep, get one of those going for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't want anything happening to your truck. And you're putting miles on your truck and gas out of your pocket. It's not fair.
And it's a Chevy. You know they don't last that long.
Oh. But anyways,
Right now, call me.
and we appreciate you coming tonight so we can talk. So
Yes, sir.
thank you. I mean, anything else for Mr. Stephen?
The only thing I'd make a comment on is you'll see in their public works report, we're starting to put all the metrics together kind of based on what you're seeing in all of these so that you'll have a visual. But a huge kudos to the guys because they're essentially getting it to the point now where there are no open work orders every month. I think when I started, we had over 100 and something on them. They're doing about 150 to 200 work orders a month, which is
Yeah,
pretty
there's no doubt
impressive.
about it. Those guys are working. Yeah, I mean, they're awesome. We love them. Make sure they have all cold weather gear. Like let's make sure we have good. I know we've got them all jackets. Let's make sure they have gloves, toboggans, good rain boot, good water boots. Something to keep your feet dry. We don't want anybody getting sick or
They just requested if I could get beanies and gloves, and I reached out to Myra today about it, and I'll be going to pick that up.
good job, guys.
Teamwork.
I think we're coming due for truck to be re-inspected.
Yep. They're already on it.
Okay, and then, the place over in Haddon, 36 and whatever that road is over there, they're mechanics as well. We got a back there already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I would ask them if they can-
Capital Trucking.
Yeah.
Be nice to have a mobile.
And we need- If you just tell them, hey, I'm at the city of Bartlett, you can bring in all the trucks because you're not going to take all 7 of them at once.
Yeah.
You can take one today, one tomorrow, and then they'll bill us at the end.
Oh, nice.
Instead of having to just keep hitting them with checks.
Okay.
So, yeah, Mr. Weaver did it last year for us, ran routed it, so he's got all the information. So. And don't be afraid to ask us any questions, man, because we've all been in the ditches here and we know what it's like. So we appreciate what you're doing and keep it up. You guys are doing a good job. So, thank y'all. What's up?
Basically, what we're going over with you right now is emergency action plan. We need to put one of those together, we have a checklist of everything we need to do when we're going, whether it's in the middle of summer or whatever. Just have you plan. That way, my name is Brandon, I do it all covered. It's on the wall. You got it all written down, you know what you gotta do.
Yes,
So, Other thing I saw the other day, we were over there with the technical contractor, which is great. But if you're gonna be around them, you gotta have part of it. Anytime something goes above level, you have to have part of it.
Yes, sir.
Personally, I would recommend all the employees get them when you're outside working. What I've always told people is that's your first step to safety. Yeah, but it's smart habit.
Just
Protect the melons.
You get your head, you need much good with it. Something else I got, I've been noticing, and I know we don't have a lot of manpower, but our brush pile is growing.
We did have a
And
question on
after today,
that.
I'm sure they're gonna grow even more, probably.
So y'all told, we wanted to verify process on that. Who all do we need to contact to burn? How have y'all done that in the past?
There's one number you need to call. I think it's Bell County Dispatch.
Okay.
And just call Bell County Dispatch and just let them know that we're gonna have a scheduled burn, controlled burn, and they'll need the address, the location. We just give them the location, and
And then
time.
fire watch.
I understand what you're talking about, I'm talking about the brush pile in front of each house.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
What we need to do, if we're not gonna have the manpower to do it in the future, if we don't have it now, we either gonna have to stop doing it, or we're still committed to the ones that are there now.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to go get a work order for all the ones that are out there now, and get it in just 1 or 2 a week and start shipping out until we get knocked out. But if somebody else calls about a pile of brush, it's not, doesn't have to work on it, you miss the window.
We can do an inventory of everyone that's out there still that has some. You can kind of tell.
There's a lot of them
Oh,
popping
yeah.
up, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. We can kind of tell what's been there for a while and what's been new. But we'll work on some addressing, getting work orders out. I know the guys have been picking up as they can. Summer was pretty rough, but now that we're starting to get some time, hopefully the rain holds off for a little bit because we seem to be getting a lot of sewer backups every time it rains. So
Yeah, and the hard part right now getting down.
That's the worst part.
The brush pile is almost.
It's hard to get in there right now. That's the,
We do need to burn it off pretty soon, though.
yes, we do.
So you said-
Bell County Dispatch. Just call Bell County Dispatch.
just
Dispatch
do my
line.
address and then we just need to do a fire watch.
Yeah, and we'll have fire department there. They usually take the brush truck out there and just circle it and spray water around the perimeter. We burned it 2 or 3 times.
All right, we'll schedule something.
But we probably should have done it over the Christmas break, but because it's gonna blow right towards the school, go blow right towards those residences right there, and they're gonna be all calling me, yelling at me.
Spring break.
Maybe spring break.
All right.
When school's out, we can burn it without disrupting.
We'll schedule it.
Mark, do we have a quick list of the vehicles and equipment we have? Trucks, bucket trucks, chainsaws?
We have one of vehicles. As far as equipment goes, we don't have one that I'm aware of, but we can get one going.
That's a good way for it to walk off.
Yeah.
Which ours aren't running, so we want to walk off. We need to put together a list of that. What's wrong with it? What's going to cost to get repaired, and when it's going to get repaired.
Mm-hmm.
This equipment's good, it's going to do the pipe for it all this time, and then we'll have to use it.
Agreed. The guys have been, I will say the guys have been maintaining, especially the heavy equipment. I don't know the last time that backhoe had gotten maintenance, but they're doing it now pretty regularly. And then, well, you can speak more to what they're doing on the day to day, but
Yeah, we're taking, they've definitely, picked it up a lot when it comes to taking care of some things around here. You know, it's a little rough on this, they definitely, once they got into a little more routine, now we're getting a little routine with the vehicles as well. We just started that here, I guess. So we have a checklist again, make sure everybody's checking everything off the list and, what's wrong with the vehicles and whatnot. So, really I'll start getting the list together. All of our equipment, small equipment, generators, backhoes and everything, and get something to work with.
I'd like to see that, man. You know, talk to the board here so we can see where we're at with our equipment.
Yeah.
And if we got a piece of equipment that's cost us, how about we contract it's cost us to keep running, it's cost us too much, get rid of it.
Are you done yet?
I'll still got another list.
Keep going. I mean, are you done?
Yeah.
You are.
For now.
Okay. Hey, I'm just table's yours, man. All right. Thank you, Shelton. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Myra. All right. Moving on. Workshop agenda: review, discuss, and provide direction.
you can go if you want to.
I'm sticking out here.
Okay.
Item number 8, presentation and discussion on personnel policy and possible updates.
Mayor and council, this is an item that when I first started, actually before I even started, y'all had asked me that this was something that we wanted to look at. So I wanted to bring it before you all today, get some discussion going on, some of the things that I've noticed and things that have been brought up to me. Hopefully get some direction from the council, and then if there's anything else that you want us to look at as well, more than happy to. So in your packet, you'll have this presentation and you also have the personnel policy. The last update to the personnel policy was back in
It's been a while.
2018. So what we're going to look at about today is observed holidays, vacation leave, sick leave, longevity bonus, and then just inclusivity in the language. So one thing that I noticed when I started was our holidays are a little different, and wanted to kind of see how we were in comparison to other cities. And it's copying everything I say. And I've never had that happen. All right, we'll just move on. So as you can see here with the holidays and what we actually observe, you can kind of see what other cities observe and how many holidays that they have. We pretty much fall in line for most of them. The ones that we pretty much across the board is being celebrated now is Juneteenth. And then one thing I noticed is that we had 2 days off for New Year's. That's the kind of out of the norm. And so the recommendation that I'm bringing forward to you all is to observe Juneteenth and then reduce New Year's down to 1 day. So it's just that New Year's Eve, not New Year's Day as well. Oh, sorry, New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve. Most people would want New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So it'd be New Year's Day instead. And so that's one where if the council decided to change it, that would be one recommendation. As far as the vacation accrual, and this is better probably in your packet, but you can see here from the city of Bartlett, we currently do 40 hours, which is essentially 1 week. If you have 0 to 5 years of service, and then 2 weeks for 6 to 14 years of service, and then 3 weeks for 15 years and up. If you kind of look at the other comparison cities, and then also just what the average is, we're below line there. What the recommendation here would be at least 2 weeks from 0 to 5, and then 3 weeks kind of moving forward, and then onward and upward, depending on how y'all would want to do that. But that way, as we talked about retention and recruitment, vacation's a big one for people. And the other thing is we've got people who probably don't take vacation often, but when they do, we're kind of limiting them now to really only taking a day or so every other, unless they take a whole week off, and then they don't have any more vacation time for the rest of the year. And we can stop and talk if y'all like, or if you want, we can do it at the very end, up to you all on how y'all want to discuss each slide.
One of the things I kind of noticed when we talked about this a little this afternoon is that we're comparing to a lot larger cities than we are, that have a lot more employees and a lot more revenue, so forth. We talked about the way that, if we jump over the other slide, where the sick leave accrual is. The vacation technically is not an accrual, correct?
It can be either or. I think right now it is. Right now, I've been doing it as a lump sum because it's so low.
So it's not accrued, it's just a lump sum. And we're accruing the sick leave, so we could go up to 240 hours max carryover. One of the suggestions I've made today was instead of changing it to 173 hours, leaving it to 120 on their vacation, but then make a week of the sick discretionary for vacation if they want to take an additional
Maybe
week.
PTO.
Not really PTO, but sort of like, yeah. It'd just be a discretionary week in that 230 hours they have a sick leave. Because most people, a lot of people will get, I know when I left Western States, I had like 600 hours sick. And you don't get paid for that anyway, in the leave. So if you put it as discretionary, then we're not obligated to pay for it either, so many leaves. We're just trying to. That was one of my thoughts.
smart to use those first.
Do what?
Smart to use those first for using their vacation.
Yeah.
How many weeks do they have to have before, long-term disability kicks in? 6 months?
I'd have to check on that with FMLA on how that works out.
Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
I'll stop there for the lady, but I think that was in the input.
I'll have to look.
It took 17
We
weeks.
don't have enough of a-
Oh, yeah. But not FMLA, but kind of the same, long-term disability. Yeah, I'd have to look into it to see how that works out with how much, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months.
Is it short term or long term? It's mandatory.
I think short-term's mandatory.
Mandatory, long term.
I'll say long-term.
Oh, really?
I don't remember for sure which.
You can look
But you
into it.
don't get paid so many weeks before it kicks in. For some reason.
You have
I'm
to
thinking
use your
6.
vacation, yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And that's what that 240 is coming from. And, that way, you didn't get hurt on the job, and you don't have 240 hours, wherever your difference is, you're not gonna get checked.
Mhm.
That's what it's
So workers' compensation picks up on that as well. When you get hurt on the job, isn't it?
I think workers' comp would cover the medical bills. I don't know if it would cover the pay.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I just simply need to look at it, I think a little more closely to make sure that we're not hurting ourselves or that we're employees more importantly.
So it sounds like, as far as the vacation, you'll want to keep it as is.
Well, just a suggestion, because I just, here, if you hire a guy on, and you've got a $15 an hour guy versus a $30 an hour guy, there's quite a bit of discrepancy in what that vacation is gonna cost you to buy out.
Mhm.
You know, if you keep that discretionary, then you're saving that $40.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Well, and if the concern is the rollover, then we can keep the rollover at 80. But 1 week of vacation, just across the board, I mean, I'm sure if we looked at the national average, I think 1 week of vacation is very low.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. The two is probably the standard.
The standard,
Yeah.
2 to 4. Yeah. Growing to 4 with the longer tenure you have.
So that would make a difference on whatever you have to roll over, like that.
Well, if you have a cap, but that's what that rollover cap is, right? So if you keep it at 80, that means that they have to use their 2 weeks within that year or they lose it.
Or they use it.
You gotta keep them out too, that if you give them more vacation, that takes them on call.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, it's not that they should get punished for no call. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm saying. Just letting you know, real estate. You have them go on vacation more, but somebody else has to.
Yeah.
Right, and that's another consideration for sure. Especially when you got one handful of employees.
Yeah, and that's one where I'd expect the supervisors and myself to make sure that we are coordinating vacations as much as possible.
So, how do we manage the accrual for this? Is that done just through,
It's fund view.
or FundView does that, or they also track?
It tracks use. It tracks how much is used per pay period per employee.
On sick and vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine with going 0 to 5 years in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then 6 to
That's what that was.
Onward 3 weeks.
3 weeks onward.
Okay.
That's pretty common
Yeah,
in most job site companies.
we can
And
definitely.
then like a week's worth of sick time. So basically, it's like, 3 weeks, and then if you do 5 years, it's 4 weeks. You got sick, and then you got, how much sick time you get back? I mean, you'll get like 87 freaking holidays, come on.
Something.
Y'all can have,
So
National
right
Cheeseburger
now,
Day off, and
they
Chocolate
are
Chip Cookie
giving-
Day, and
The current policy currently gives 1 week of sick leave.
sick 1 week. Well, how in the heck do people build up 360 hours of sick leave?
Not,
Think about it, we're getting on sick leave, rolling over. You got people that are building up for sick leave, they're not taking all sick. And that's kind of what we want. But if you're not doing sick leave, because they've already approved their amendment, you're punishing them for doing that.
Mhm.
So there's got to be a,
Someone eliminate sick leave.
yeah, if they wanted to transfer, and that would be one thing where, and we talked about this, Philip, if they wanted to, let's say, use their 1 week of sick and convert it to vacation time, it would just be a written request to me or the city administrator position, we could put that in the policy. It would have to be approved for them to then kind of be able to transfer that. But the recommendation on sick leave would be to move from year 1 to 4, 80 hours. And then year 4, it could be 100, 120, whatever it is. And then with that accruing max of 240.
I think I kind of like to see what some smaller cities do too. before
We can do that.
We got Gerald, maybe better than
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah, we'll look at Holland, Granger, Jarrow, Little River, Rogers. We're getting a salary survey done with them right now, so I'll follow up.
What? You got to go to vacation? What else was on this one? The holidays. What do y'all feel about the holidays?
Where's Christmas at on here?
It's not a holiday.
It's just one of the 13.
It's one of the 13.
And then,
Can I go back to the holidays real fast? I'm sorry.
so on holidays, we're getting 13 currently, and that's 13 total days. That's not 13 holidays, that's 13 total days. So that's 2 for Thanksgiving and 2 for New Year's and 2 for Christmas. So 6 of those are those. And that goes for every other city. So 13 to 14 is kind of your average that you're seeing. So we're in line.
So if we move that 2 to 1,
And
go
then,
back to, we still have 13 holidays, right?
Yep,
So
there
where's
is
the
no
14
net gain.
Where's the 14 from the others?
Hutto's was, I'll have to look at what they put. It was an odd holiday. It was,
That's what it is.
they do call it Indigenous Peoples Day, but that's Columbus Day.
Yeah.
There's another one that they had that was
Good Friday or
Portland,
That's Memorial Day, Labor Day.
MLK's on here. They had a strange one. They've got them all on here. Veterans, Juneteenth, Presidents, Good Friday, and Columbus, and all that they covered. And there was another one that it was either an additional day that they give them, because like when I was in Georgetown, we had 2 personal holidays. So you got your holidays plus 2 that you got to use whenever.
another way we could do this, is one New Year's Day, and you give them a personal holiday, you can use it whenever you want.
Instead of taking the Juneteenth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do that instead.
If they want to do
Yeah.
And it just doesn't carry over. It's like,
No, you got.
Yeah, it's a personal holiday you have to use.
Yeah, you can't.
No, say ours to Christmas holiday.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
That gives you real flexibility on that.
And use it when it's.
And that's why they do that, because some people may celebrate Hanukkah as an example, or Kwanzaa, and those aren't normally holidays that cities will close for, but if it's a holiday you want to celebrate.
Or chocolate chip cookie day or whatever it is.
I think my holiday is, because you can.
Cinco de Mayo, that's probably what it is. Cinco
It
de-
probably was.
It's probably Cinco de
Mayo.
Mayo, that's what it is.
Or the Ace of Spades.
The Mexican Independence Day.
I like that idea though, like that one float, that one floating holiday, go down to, keep it at 13, but instead of doing the two for New Year's, instead of dedicating it to Juneteenth, do that.
You have a floating personal, yep,
If they want off on Juneteenth, they can take off on Juneteenth.
there you go.
I like that idea. That's a good
This is
idea.
just total days. That was just another way to look at it over hours. So the longevity bonus, in the policy, it states that you have to have a minimum of 1 year, and the rate at which it's paid is $2 for each continuous month of service, up to a maximum of 240 months. What's been practiced has been $3 for each continuous month. So we're not necessarily following policy. And so my recommendation is that we either adopt what's being followed, or council makes a recommendation on a new rate. And we can also look at what other cities do as far as longevity goes. It's not something that I think many other cities may do, but we can ask.
Yeah, I think it changed to $3. Somebody's interim. Not to take names, Mr. Holt. $2 just sounds
It's low.
low. $3 sounds low.
Yeah, I will say
That's
it's,
low.
It's low.
That's real low.
The state of Texas is $20.
Per month.
Yeah, up to 24 or 32 months.
We're only gonna let it go to 240.
The state of Texas has a little bit more funds than the city.
Yeah, they got a lot more funds.
Come on, fellas.
we can look at what other cities are doing and then make a recommendation that's more in line with what longevity looks like. It's a lot. I was about to get to the good dollars and then transition to the lovely city of Bartlett.
Bless your heart.
That's true. We almost caused a few collisions.
So anything other to add on? I mean, we want to explore what other cities are offering on this.
Okay, we'll explore to see what other.
I like having the big cities in there, but I think to give an overall picture, we need the smaller cities.
Yeah, and there may be that we may hear that they don't do it, and if that's the case, we'll have to just sample who's got a longevity bonus.
Perfect.
Anybody's in this one.
The last thing's inclusivity. It really just speaks to the male pronoun, and so just wanted to make it more them, their. I think even city administrator's only a man, so.
That kind of surprised me, just being redone.
2018 wasn't.
It's still like that.
Even our codes are like that.
I think James Grant wrote it. So.
So that's one recommendation too, is to just make it gender inclusive. We have male and female employees, so we want to make sure that it's represented.
That does make sense.
And so I think I've heard from the council, but I'll recap it. So for holiday observances, moving it down to essentially still 13, but one of those being a personal holiday. Looking to possibly bring that into the personnel policy when we do an update to it. The vacation leave and the sick leave, look at smaller cities before we kind of make any direction there. And then the longevity bonus, same thing. And then from the inclusivity language, I heard yes to that as well. Is there anything else in the manual that should be reviewed that we haven't? I heard some stuff on short-term disability, long-term.
None of that really has to be addressed tonight, but I know there's some things that I had some questions about, and there's a lot of the military leave was one of the questions I had, which we did find.
We found it, yeah.
And then, we talked about the direct deposit, which is not in this policy, but it has been implemented at this point.
We now only pay employees through direct deposit
So that would be something that needs to be implemented as well.
in there.
One of the other questions we had when it got into was sexual harassment, things like that, and ethics. We we need to look at, I think it's a requirement on that, if you're gonna have that policy, you have to offer ethics training, I think that has to be done each year. But I'm not real sure to what extent. But some people may not even know what sexual harassment even is. So,
I know you have to have it one, for sure.
I think one of the, I think.
Then I think you have to have it if you got missing.
I'm sorry,
I think maybe one time you have to have that, I don't know. Is if you have missing.
instead they have to.
Then you have to go through the training. I think everybody has to go through it.
Yeah. We can find, I'm sure there's something out there that someone's published that we can use, and then we can make all of our employees watch it.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
And that way everybody's on the same page. with it.
Get all our, don't make them like you.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
The other thing was on the drug policy, I think it was important that we would keep up and make sure that they do have current driver's license, if they have, if they're insurable or not. On the drug policy, if there was, zero tolerance, what's required, if somebody tests dirty after an accident, then how do we deal with that? We have to offer them, some sort of, rehab or whatever some companies do, and I'm not sure if that's a mandatory thing or not. There's something to look at to make sure to keep us current with the times on that.
We'll ask our HR team of attorneys to see if there is anything mandatory with it. I know that it could be like, I think what practice has been in some cities is, and I don't know if this is a law, because I'm not familiar with the HR law, but as an example, if somebody, let's say, tests positive, and then they say, well, I actually have a drinking problem, that's when the city, in those cases, has to step in and say, okay, well, we'll provide you rehab or we'll provide you help. They won't necessarily be fired because now it's considered a health issue. Yes, ma'am.
The job that I used to work, if they were to call me and say, hey, we need to test you for whatever reason. And I come to them and say, oh, that I got a problem, then they would send me to rehab. If I don't say anything and I test dirty, we're done.
Yeah, that's what I think
Is
it
that
was.
what you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. That's what I assumed too, but we'll confirm.
Okay.
I just think if we're gonna have that, we need to make sure that we have it complete.
Now, we did have this happen with an employee several years ago. And the person was begged to please take the test. We will help you. And the person absolutely refused.
And in that case, you also fire.
And they were fired.
That's the zero tolerance.
So what I'm saying is, I think we did help seniors some, if you just to get it out.
Yeah, I think you're required to give them
I think you have.
Yeah, this person just refused.
I know I had
You
several.
find it on your own, that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, I know I had a situation when I was living in office there, we had a couple of people test whether we had it or it too. And that they could decline it, or if they did, it would just turn it.
We'll check with Messer Fort. They have a HR division.
Do we cut your random testing now?
We don't do random testing right now.
Are
That
there any CD on the record?
Are you the only CDL?
Probably.
Just one.
See, Curtis and Brandon were, and then I think Patrick was.
To randomly. We'll check.
They also, our insurance all require us to do background checks on the driver's license.
Every year.
Make sure that you're insured.
Let me ask you this then. Does that carry over to your fire department?
We got
Yeah,
different
I
I
policies.
think it would.
Are we insuring those vehicles?
We are. We are not testing them. Nor do I think we've ever done a background check on them.
Some shady characters.
Yeah, if they're not CD on the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all of them are.
they're not required to be a CD on the record.
Yeah. Well, and we only have one CDL driver, right? So then my question would be, do you just test one person or do you,
I
The way
think we
that
bring
it-
them all in for a drug test.
well, the way that it worked that I was aware of, normally what happens is if you drive a city vehicle, there is a random drug test. Right, and that's just, yeah, well, yeah, so if you drive a city vehicle,
All CDL drivers have to test.
Yeah.
And then all employees of road vehicles have to.
Yeah. and if that's a policy we could do.
Explains why you're driving your personal truck.
My city of hit my for corner somewhere, they're gonna bring up the vehicles. I mean, too.
No, I think it's good policy to practice. I think we can do in-house drug screening with, give a chief, ask him, I don't know why they're not here now, but.
No, we, with the drug testing we do, we could, absolutely.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Also too, we have a lady that worked in the office, that tripped and fell, messed up her ankle.
Oh, yeah.
She should have been sent, I mean, she should have done a drug test, I think, because she was out for quite some time.
All that works here for the city of Bartlett. You're talking about not PFG, but here at City of Bartlett.
Here at City of Bartlett.
Well, I think the policy should be, or is, hopefully it is if there is an on-the-job injury, you're gonna claim workers' comp, you get tested.
You don't get to study.
Study, I'm sure not gonna pass that.
Another person.
Study journal, well.
With the TV not being here today, I know we have in our handbook here about fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we can talk about this today, and Oaks Lake is going through a bunch of events with people carrying weapons into public places. And the way the law reads, the way that I understand it, is that, you know, if you have a concealed carry or open carry license, if you're licensed to carry, you can carry into a public government building or whatever, unless there's signage posted.
That is correct.
Okay, now if we, you don't know what crazy people are out there in this world, and if we don't at least get our signage up, or if the PD's not gonna be here, maybe somebody else needs to be trained to do security while we have these meetings and things.
I just need a block.
One bullet Barney right there.
Or court.
But I think, but again, I think our handbook, I think it should reflect how that we see it.
I agree.
If not, then we're just shame on us if it happens.
We can absolutely get signage ordered. I've already got it in my Amazon cart, ready to come in. So we just wanted to hear from the council that was
There's two signs, the 30-06.
and the 30-07.
Yeah,
30-5, 30-6, 30-7, 30-8.
yeah, and they all have to be posted.
English and Spanish, one-ish.
You don't have to have.
You don't. You can carry concealed or open without a license now, but as far as bringing it to some place where it's,
Yes.
yes, you can.
Without a license?
You can't carry it concealed without a license.
I thought you could carry it
It has
regardless.
to be open without a license, I believe.
About constitutional carry though.
I don't know, man.
License-
Why you
You
bring
no longer need a
constitutional
license to
The
carry.
reason I got one, so I don't have to stand in line to get doing this.
Yeah, the legislation changes so where you could
Sorry,
just,
guys.
It says that unlicensed carrier may never carry in a room arranged for a meeting of governmental entity is held. So if you're unlicensed, you can't carry like in this room at all.
Yeah.
If you're licensed, you can unless,
it's posted that we
unless
can't.
it's posted.
But that was written prior to the the
Yes,
Texas open
that-
carry law.
Last year, I believe.
And so,
Yes.
Yeah, it all changed, actually, so I need to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Well, I
because the
remember-
last that they had changed on that showed 21 for TML, but we can see if there's anything. I'll look at the 2023 year language.
when Pack was elected mayor and they went to swear him in, he walked in, he had his gun on his hip. You
Oh,
remember? And they escorted him out, thought he couldn't have it in here, so he had to go put it in the car and come back in. Dumbass.
it's going to be a big deal all the time.
Cool. Anything else on that, on the personnel policy? You got some things to work with now?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Y'all keep me busy.
How many more times will we have this workshop on the personnel, another time or two?
I'm imagining maybe one more time, get final say, and then bringing it back as an ordinance with the revised language.
Does anybody have any other questions about that or comments?
I think that's touched on some pretty good stuff tonight. I mean, I really do. I think I've covered a lot. Come through it again and bring it back one more time, and then we'll bring it back after that with an ordinance.
It's a fun read.
Do you wanna go through and redline everything and get it back out to us?
Mhm.
And change it to make sure that-
Yeah, we can do that, and then I can send it in the Friday email. That's what I'm gonna do. The Friday email.
Yeah, every time you print a packet, you kill a tree, and it hurts Shelton's heart over there. He loves his trees. From Austin, he's a tree
I
hugger.
actually got it all in there.
Number 9.
Jesse had something, I
Oh,
think.
go ahead, Jesse.
I was just saying, you talk about those signs 30 on 6 right there. Are they gonna be legal as signs? Not like, just an example, my wife's bank.
Yeah.
Sign is no bigger than this. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, no, it's the one I'm looking at is 24 by 24 inches. So I'm pretty sure the text is 1 inch, which is what it has to be. Then it has to be contrasting color, so it's white and black. So yeah,
You gotta put it on every door too. So
The numbers are gonna be-
it has to be on every door.
Oh,
That's my
they're red.
my concern is it won't fit on some of our doors.
Jason, didn't it have to be on every entry door though? I think you have to have those signs at every entry, correct? Yeah,
I'll reread it.
I mean,
I
Would
think
it,
so.
would it be just the front two?
It would
entries,
just be
or-
this one and this one.
Even though it's an employee.
But I mean, wouldn't you want it on the front of City Hall also? I mean,
Yeah,
there's some pretty angry people in there yelling at them all the
That's
time.
on the lot.
You have to have it there
Yeah.
everywhere.
Think about changing that out to bulletproof glass. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys are laughing, but it's true. I mean,
yeah, I'll
they're
reread
buzzing
the
people
code.
in, you know.
You sit out there and
You've been around Bartlett enough, you know. You know what I'm talking about.
How many times have we talked about who we are up here, like city blocks, when this room is full of people?
Well, come on, look right here. I'm in like,
If you look from
I keep moving back and forth because I see that little
Sniper range, the red.
red dot on the wall over there. That's the funnest meeting we've had in a good while. I mean, we ain't even gotten to the agenda yet. And these guys just came over here to talk about putting a house in town, and they're way down at the very bottom. I'm about to move along. We're gonna postpone item. Okay, so we just talked about we really need to close the workshop before we postpone it.
Yeah, and I can breeze through the.
Breeze through the utility rate study. Let's talk about that, and then we'll go to the discussion on
RFQ.
on the engineering services.
Okay. So real quickly, the utilities rate study, we had 2 submit. I'll do this really quickly. We had 2 submit. We submitted a issue request for proposals. They were supposed to be submitted by November 10th. We had 2 companies submit, really good ones, Raftellus and Nugent. And the other thing is I'll just briefly talk about what a rate study is and why do a rate study. So we talked about this on the FY24 budget. We allocated $45,000 to do a rate study. That was what we thought it would cost at the time. The city hasn't updated rates since 2018. And when they did the rates, I don't necessarily know if the cost of service model was done. When a cost of service model is bare bones is what does it cost to serve a resident or commercial? And that means what's it cost us from a salary perspective for staff, for the materials, for the infrastructure, for the future capital improvements plan to provide them the services and replace the infrastructure. What does testing cost? You know, different things that go into. So what is the operating revenue requirement that we as a city need to make to operate our water system, our wastewater system, and our electric system? And so it's a very comprehensive and detailed way to go about it. But what helps in when we do one of these is we understand that we're talking about what our rates are doing. We know that it's covering the cost of the utilities. So it's running like a true business. So So any utility is supposed to run and operate like a business. It's an enterprise fund. That's why it's called that. It's not like the general fund, where the general fund is property tax and sales tax. That's essentially all you have, and then maybe some permit revenue. Your utility is supposed to support itself. Now, Bartlett's a little unique. Not only is it supposed to support itself, but it's also supposed to support the general fund. Most cities may have a 5% pilot or a payment in lieu of tax. We have more of a 20 to 30 to, if not 40% of what the utilities support the general fund with, because our sales tax is limited to $120,000 a year. That doesn't cover a month of bills. And we have a limited property tax. And so for those other months of the year, how is the city going to pay your utilities clerk, your permit clerk, myself, right, police? And so that's where utilities really help support the rest of the city. And so that would also be taken into consideration when they're creating the rate. And so I talked about that. We received 2, Nugent and Raftellus. Both are super highly qualified firms and they're experts in their field. Here is a list of some of their previous clients. Nugent, they've worked for big clients, small clients. So Austin, Conroe, Dallas, Fake, Georgetown, Hutto, Liberty Hill, Round Rock, Saws. Raftellus has worked with Austin, Dallas, Copperas Cove, El Paso, Round Rock, San Angelo, Saws, San Marcos. They've worked for, both of them are the rate study leaders in the nation. We had a review committee comprised of myself, the mayor, and then council members Philip Weaver and Shelton Gilmore. We had both of them present, and the consensus that we got, and we also had an evaluation criteria, which is required by purchasing law. And as it relates to how they all scored out based on my review and then also the feedback I got, the favorite was Nugent. And committee members can speak to why that was for them. They are a higher cost. They did reduce their costs, and so did Raftellus after we reduced the scope a little bit. But their study would essentially cost a not to exceed amount of $59,765. Raftellus came in at a cost of $48,000, but theirs is not a not to exceed. And from what I've learned in rate studies is that you're going to meet that $48,000 because a lot of the work is data. Data takes time, and we don't have good data. So it's going to be us sending a lot of stuff over to them and them having to turn it and figure out what our true revenue requirement is to operate our utilities. And so I could see in the future a change order needed to then essentially add more funds to complete the study. That's why we also like the Nugents not to exceed, because they're essentially taking the stance that that's all it's going to cost, and they're not going to ask for a change order. They're going to eat the cost if it does go over. That's something that they're doing as a company.
One of the questions I didn't think I asked is before, were they conclusive enough in their proposal to not change their notice to go to the which in the change?
In what sense?
Well, if you have if they've got a complete scope of what the data collection, all that stuff's gonna look like, and all of a sudden they say, well, we need to get this, well, that wasn't in the original scope of work. Now that we have a new scope, how does that look?
Yeah, no.
Is there a rate with that?
No, the scope of work that we created is pretty comprehensive, but the data requirement gathering stage is all in there. And so it would all just be a part of that same phase.
Just as a true not to exceed.
Yes. Yes.
We're pretty forthcoming about that.
No doubt.
That's why I think they didn't reduce it as much as we had hoped.
Yeah.
And so the recommendation from the committee was to pick Nugent. One, they showed more history with smaller communities. Smaller communities are more unique. And so I think that they'll understand more of what the challenges are here to serve, and also the communication that it takes whenever we are doing that rate change. And then also just the interview of both firms. That was really the deciding factor, I think, for us picking Nugent over Raftellus. And so wanted to get some council feedback on if there's agreement with our award, because at the very end of our council meeting, I am asking for us awarding the rate study if the council sees fit. So I don't know if anyone from the committee wanted to speak to kind of their experience.
One of the things I wanted to tell everybody that wouldn't be, is that part of this 59,000, we're going to come to public hearings that we have to rate, whatever we're doing. They're going to be here, present them, have us present, and explain stuff to our councilors. They're going to be talking stuff, some of us don't know that much about, and I'll be honest with you, what they're going to get into, I don't know that. But they're going to be here to back us up. And that's back to the end. I don't remember how many trips we went, but I
I think they're doing 2 public meetings.
think 2 or 3. Just
Yeah, we
they would be
reduced it to 2 to get the cost down.
I think that the best value is with new gyms over the main group, even though they're less expensive. I had a better feeling with what those guys were presenting as far as, their expertise, their experiences, their whole team. I think they gave a better presentation in my opinion.
Anything there?
No, I think both companies are highly qualified and to do exactly what we need. But I like to not to exceed, because if you have an open checkbook, then you have an open checkbook, we know where that gets you. But if with the not to exceed, they're kind of limited on who got amount. If they go over on them. So you're a little bit more protected. The new gen guys that came that day, I think there's 2 guys.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be 4 that work on our project, but man, they were top notch. I mean, they were like super. I mean, they were helping us with stuff that didn't even pertain to this. I mean, they knew what they were talking. I mean,
You get your business.
yeah, they knew the business. I mean, you could tell it was like a different caliber in my opinion. So,
All I can say is they didn't talk like your weekend. Well, I never let them talk.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think is also a benefit is the person they have as a project manager started off as a finance director or started in local governments, working for local governments. And so there's also that experience of local government financing and accounting is a whole different world that if you never worked in it, you don't understand it because it's very different than private. And so for them to understand that portion of it too is helpful, especially as it comes to budgets. They even already knew about our upcoming contract with LCRA and it ending. They did their research, so they were well prepared. And those are all things that are going to go into that rate study as well. It's
so their price is 58,000 not to exceed
59,
59, and we budgeted how much?
45, and we have 70,000 in our.
That's how we're going to funding it.
Yes, so there's funding there. So as far as funding goes, we have 70,000 in our EDC fund, which, as you all know, was successfully passed to terminate. And we heard from the state, the comptroller, they've acknowledged that it's been terminated. So we're good there. And then March 1st, essentially, we can move that money and it ceases to exist.
I don't look at this as an expenditure, I look at this as an investment.
It is absolutely an
I was gonna say,
investment.
It's gonna pay itself
It's
off.
gonna pay itself off.
Absolutely. Some of the things that we've already talked about were
Not that quick.
We'll talk about how the bills broke down and everything, it's gonna be on the basis of discussing.
Yep.
You know that.
you'll be able to explain why the bill is that way.
I would better have an idea what I actually overproduced too.
Yes.
Which I know some of them.
And it also perfectly aligns because we're doing the system study with LCRA. That'll hopefully have a few projects that they're recommending for CIP. And then we've got projects we've already determined with water. So we'll build CIP together as a part of this, right? And that'll all go into the rates as well. As far as what that 5-10 year CIP looks like and what we need to start proactively looking at programming some of the replacement for the infrastructure. So we're not just doing it when grants are awarded. While that's great, we're not always going to get the grant. So we need to how do we fund it if we don't?
How many months out was that? March?
It's about a 6 to 7 month study. And that's from start to adoption. And then normally with rates, you want to give people a few months before I'd say probably October 1 is when they're going to recommend we do new rates. Yeah. Yeah. That way it gives, if this ends in June, July, then it gives people, hey, we message. And that way when new rates hit, there's awareness. So just wanted to see if that's something the council would agree with, and then hopefully when it's up later on the agenda, we can take action.
So we good on that, number 9 item? We'll move on to number 10. We're good? Good. Moving on to number 10, presentation discussion on the submissions for the general engineering services rotation list.
So another RFQ we issued, and this was a part of wanting to be more efficient and also spreading the work around. So right now we have one engineering firm, MRB. We have considered possibly adding a few more engineering firms to essentially to our team, right? And the way that you can do this is through an RFQ like this. They submit their qualifications, we vet them, and then we can select all of them, some of them, and move forward with then creating master service agreements with them. And so it's an agreement that says we can work with you. You know, you've passed this qualified competitive process. And then whenever we have a project, let's say a project for water, a project for streets, whatever it may be, we then say, hey, here's the scope of what that work is. What would it cost for us to do it with you? They then give us that, and then we can we now have a predetermined list of people we can task order projects to. So it saves us time in that process too, especially with designing some of these.
We may or may not use them based on the approval.
Yep, they're on the approvals.
They've already been vetted, everything.
And,
And that's what this process is the
how long
vetting.
is the MSA good for? How, what's the new?
So that's up to the master service agreement. You can do a 2-year agreement, a 3-year agreement. So if we do 3 years, in 3 years, we do another RFQ. And we re-up and ask for new submissions. And then that way it gives us the staff time. And I think 3 or 5 years, you may want to align it with your CIP. So maybe 5 years as an example. Would be there. Because it can be time consuming. Yeah. So we issued the RFQ. Here's the services that we put in the RFQ. So we were looking for plan review. So this is with a lot of our residential projects, especially as they're coming in. We're needing, or a good example is the school right now, they're working on their bond. So we've had MRB heavily involved in that one, doing plan review, doing almost every other week meetings at some point with the other engineers to make sure that project moves along. City projects, design, permitting, bid, construction, and then also being the project representative, doing environmental and regulatory work, grant assistance, surveying and easements, design standard guidance. So as you know, we've got our subdivision code. We're right now using the Round Rock standards, but eventually we may want to adopt our own. So getting their recommendation, and then also doing CAD and GIS. Here's just a quick slide of what's our current and possible future CIP projects. So we have the Safe Routes to School sidewalk that'll get bid this year, design of wastewater treatment plant, which will hopefully start design here soon. We have the asset management plan that will start here soon. And then we need to eventually look at a 10-year CIP and possibly creating an impact fee to help development pay for development. And that would help with water and wastewater improvements and the replacement of current infrastructure. And then we are looking at, we've already know what our limiting factors are on the water side and the wastewater side. And so if we want to be able to plan for the growth that's going to come, some of the things that we're going to need as well. So another well, ground storage, elevated storage, more booster pumps, so that we can start to serve more and more people and not be caught kind of where we are now from the wastewater side, but we're limited. So they would then provide ongoing support, and this is how, from a staff standpoint, they would be doing our utility evaluations. We do a few a month on those. We've got a lot of people who want to build where there are no utilities right now, or where there had never been utilities. And so as a good example, one is ASNI. We're having, we identified that one was going to take a 400-foot water line and a 400-foot wastewater line. And so they wanted the staff to do it, so they're paying the staff to do that. So we actually got money from that to then build that line and do the taps. So that way the city isn't necessarily having to pay for it like they used to. Plan review, pre-development meetings is a part of our subdivision code. One thing that we are requiring is a pre-development meeting. And so if someone wants to bring in a neighborhood, they would have to meet with us first. And one big component of that would be meeting with our engineer. And then surveying, easements, grant assistance. Here are the firms that submitted in alphabetical order. So you've got some pretty big names on there as far as engineering goes. We evaluated them through this criteria. And based on that evaluation, my recommendation essentially is to select the firms on the left: Gessner, Kimley Horn, KPA, MRB, WSB, and KSA, and not selecting AZ&B and Surfwest. The reason being primarily is that the firms on the left are full service firms, and then the firms on the right are not necessarily full service firms, and they're also not as local. And so for us, that's a big thing too. And so wanted to get some council feedback on providing the 6 firms a master service agreement. And then that would come to you all in a future council meeting for approval.
Go back to the list. So we've used KPA engineering on just some consulting recently. Very qualified, very good. MRB, obviously, we've been using them for a couple of years. That's our city engineer firm right now. KSA, we used them on the State and Union CDBG project, and they were really good to work with. Really simple to work with. Those are the ones that I know of. I know Myra coming from Georgetown has more experience with some of the other ones as well, so not all of them. So they all come highly qualified and recommended. So. But it's not tying us to any like
Just only when
financial obligations or
only if you
anything
task force
crazy.
it.
I mean, it's just putting them in our another tool in our tool belt.
Got a lot of deals with a lot of growth too, so one thing that the next one.
Let's expedite things a lot more quickly, I think.
Competition does.
And I think the way we'd like to use it is maybe have someone help us with plan review development, right? That's their focus. That's what they help us with. And then one can help us with the water, wastewater side of things. And then, as other things pop up.
You're a little more efficient.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on that, or do we need?
No, this is, it's workshop. So all I need is I'm hearing from the council, the feedback is yes, move forward. And then I'll start working on the master service agreement to start working with those firms.
Cool. All done?
Yes, sir.
So we can close the workshop out.
Yep.
Whatever time it is. All right, moving on. No consent agenda on that. I think we can do this next one really quick before we get to these guys, because there's nobody else here to argue about it. So the public hearing, we'll just keep going in order here. Public hearing, we'll hold the public hearing to consider an amendment to ordinance 2023-0626-01, the planned development district zoning. And so that public hearing will open at 8:29 p.m. And everybody remember the PDD? This is, we set it at 50 acres, minimum 50 acres, and we're looking at amend it down to 5 acres for the PDD requirements. So, any questions, concerns, comments? If not, we'll close and move on.
I think just that he's part of, I haven't heard this subdivision plan, but I've seen it.
Yes.
Yes.
Any subdivision, they wanted to come into the city, if they, this will allow them to use the PVD
The PDD zoning.
zoning, so everything that fell under that. So it's just basically I think when we first set it, we set it at minimum 50 acres. This is amending it down to minimum 5 acres. So, cool. Yeah, more options. So if anybody's got any comments, if not, we're closing it at 8:30 p.m. Moving on to the regular agenda. Item number 12, consideration and possible action to approve the amendment to ordinance 2023-0626-01, the planned development district zoning, exactly what I just said. We're amending it from 50 acres, previous requirement, down to 5 acres. So I just need Mr. Weaver. So Mr. Weaver's got a motion on the board to amend 2023-0626-01 from 50 acres down to 5 acres. Mr. Luna has seconded that. All in favor? Carries 5-0. All right, well, we've all been waiting on. Let's take a recess. Item number 13, consideration and possible action to approve a variance request at approximately 311 Northwest Front Street, Bartlett, Texas, in R2 duplex and apartments to allow for a conditional use to place a manufactured home. So this was, the public hearing was last meeting. This is the action portion. You guys remember this? Right over here on Front Street. The gentleman here is asking to put in a manufactured home for his daughter. And manufactured homes right there in the same block. It is not currently zoned for manufactured homes, but that's what the variance is asking for. So let me discuss. Any discussion?
And you'll have the staff report in there as well, and you're essentially giving you an overview of the request.
Any comments you want to make, or I don't appreciate you guys being patient. Sorry it's taking so long. I'm sorry.
There's already some trailer houses and mobile homes.
I believe there's one, right?
Yeah, there was another one, but the guy.
It's gonna clean the place up.
It is, yeah, so it's not zoned for it. Well, it's a conditional use, right? So it's up to the council on whether or not it's allowed. I think the one that's there,
The one that was a couple doors down from here was removed, but there is one in between.
yes,
There's still one there. The next one down was removed. That's a vacant lot, I believe, is for sale right now. The Rendon property. Rendon. And so that one was removed, but where you're putting one, there was not a house there, right?
It was a house, it was an old house.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that where your dad lived?
Years ago. That was one of the first houses in the street.
But is this on the corner?
No, that's another lot,
Okay.
yes.
So the corner house, that's where your dad lived, right?
Yes,
That's where his daughter's living currently too.
And immediately next door, just
Okay.
headed towards Jacobs.
yeah.
So-
They're already in the process of cleaning it all up.
Oh, yeah, it's looking nice.
So explain what the zoning is, you said, it was.
so right now the zoning is R2. And then per R2 in the zone, and I think this is on here too,
Duplex and apartment.
Yeah, so anything in an R2 and an R1 would be allowed.
mhm.
And so he's asking it to,
Yeah, let me double check here. So right now, yeah. So that Front Street area, that's what you've got right now is essentially duplex and apartments, R2, manufactured homes, and you've got some general business is what is allowed there. And then per the zoning ordinance, a mobile home would have to have a council approval. It's a conditional use.
Housing is approved.
Mhm.
And I don't think there was anybody that showed up for the public hearing to really go against it. I think there was some residents in the neighborhood that were here that appreciated them cleaning the lot up and doing the improvements that they have already done, and had nothing to say about the manufactured home. Obviously, there's nobody here. Yes, sir?
If it's any other consideration as well, it's a brand new house, it's a 2024, and they're made really well. They're starting, be made really well nowadays. 25-year shingles, smart panel siding on the outside, and real efficient as well.
The only thing I would say, if approved, since the address would be facing Northwest Front Street, because the door is on the side of the, I mean, it's a shotgun house, right? So it's a manufactured home, so the door's on the side. It'd have to be like a porch built to where for EMS purposes, so if fire or EMS had to go to the house for any reason, they're gonna look for the front door. They need to know, it's gotta look like a front door, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's as easy as building a porch right there with steps headed towards the street.
That's the plan too. We're doing porches and skirting and full blow.
Yeah.
And everything.
And so it's all in your packets.
Yeah, you'll see the elevation and
Just need some sort of decision from the council.
A little bit of heartburn with it because Mr. Benito, we did not give him a variance for basically the same request. No, he wanted to put a mobile home in his, and he can't bring in a house, he moved the house in. Because we would make the variance for that, so if we set a different precedent here, we want to put ourselves in a bind down the road. It's technically not zoned that way.
Well, I'm sorry, I thought I misunderstood. I thought you said it was zoned for manufacturing.
So
It's not,
It's not.
it's R2, not R3.
Yeah.
R3 would be the manufactured
So-
home, it's R2.
so it's R2.
He's asking for a variance to add this to the R2.
Talk about that house back over here with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, remember he came in here and we had like 47 meetings with the guy. So that's.
So
my
you
concern is it will-
you can see here on this page what's allowed in R2. And so that's why it's coming before you all.
Okay, was Benitez the one that was on the piece of land that the road went through it and the power lines went through it?
Yes.
And
Yes.
there were other things besides just,
Behind him was okay for,
right,
but his lot was
But
not.
his lot was
Because
not.
his has
I
an
got
Elm
you.
Street address on Elm
I
Street.
got you, that's right.
I know we've got some really crazy lot sizes right there, but yeah, I don't know that personally, I just kind of think we kind of maybe open ourselves up to something we don't want to necessarily do.
And yet,
But if
I get what
we
you're
don't do a
saying.
variance on this one, there's a trailer right by them, it's a real trailer house. We're gonna make them move so they can't move.
No, they're now a non-conforming use, and until they ever decide to do anything with it,
My thought is that, I get what you're saying. But this is cleaning up that area, and it is gonna be a beautiful place. I mean, I think they are, I think they're pretty. And we need more of that over there,
Beautification.
yeah.
more tax revenue too, right?
Yeah, it does add tax value to the city for
Rolls.
taking a vacant lot and
Mhm.
putting a structure on it and actually raising taxable value.
Seems the argument kind of in the application was that the way that it was currently zoned would really make it feasible to, just because of the size of the lot,
The
would
size
really
of
make
the
it
lot, you
feasible to
couldn't
build
do anything else
a
with it.
condo or an
You couldn't do
apartment.
anything else with it. It's either manufactured home, mobile home, whatever you want to call it, or it's just feasible.
Like every one of those lots on Front Street right here, even the lumber yard is, I believe it's actually 12 lots. And they're all facing
Oh, really?
east-west, and they're shotguns. And they're
Shotgun
like-
lots.
Yeah.
like 25 or 40 feet wide or something like that. But I mean, with setback lines and stuff like that, like they're saying, you're not going to be able to build a traditional house on it, a stick frame house, without getting extremely creative. Like, I guess you could build the same floor plan of the manufactured home.
What's gonna happen to Paul's house eventually? You gonna fix it up or you
Well,
daughter?
if we get approved for this, we're gonna get everything. She's gonna move to that trailer house, and then we're gonna knock that one down
Get
and clean it up.
so that we have a clean home.
Yeah, that's my brother's.
Yeah.
So he's thinking about getting something built, a little house, something there in the corner. But, we gotta go steps by steps, because it's kind of expensive.
Figure out where to put it, see it too, right?
Yeah, so.
Alicia, I've been sitting here racking my brain. I couldn't remember Alicia to save my life. She and Sydney played softball.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
So you want to tear down Paul's old house in?
Yes, sir.
You gonna build another house at that spot?
We're gonna be working on it after we get everything situated with my daughter. And then, because that house is not gonna be.
It's gonna be a built house or another modular home?
He probably won't build a house. He's looking at that route. So not too big, because you can't really build it too big there, but.
The reason I'm saying it, we didn't want to get into the variance of all of a sudden, we got a lot of mobile.
Oh, a lot of mobile, yes.
That's three other estimates.
Is that house sitting on a single lot or is it sitting on two lots?
It's two different lots.
But I know with Paul's house, was it on a singular lot or is it
It's-
built across the two?
The CAD's in here, I think.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
The corner lot's on the top.
So Paul's is the corner,
Where it's built right now, it's not like.
and the second one is the big one.
The other one.
Yeah, because if all those lots are those narrow lots, I mean, some people back in the day didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show that this is one lot.
So there's that.
Well, where Paul's is 23,174, or is that 24, I'm sorry.
23,724?
34.
724, and the other one's 725. I believe the one where they're at 725.
The difference is, where they put the mobile home, it's got one access point.
Right.
The one on the corner, you got one access from each side.
Two different directions.
Oh,
Is everybody through discussing?
Any more discussions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance request 311 Northwest Front Street, Bartlett, in the R2 duplex and apartments to allow for an unconditional use to place manufactured home.
Ms. Cooper's got a motion on the table to approve the variance request. You second, Gail Jones has seconded. All in favor? 3, all against? 1, 2. So it does pass 3-2. All right. Is there anything I need to sign on that one?
Nope.
All right. You guys, appreciate y'all being patient and working with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 14, consideration of possible action to approve an engagement agreement with law office of Patricia Erlinger Carls to serve as the city's development attorney. A lot like we just did on the, talked about on the engineering services.
Yes, so this item, Mayor and Council, is again more about the efficiency and effectiveness of us being able to get development agreements done and work through the development process. The development process is a long one, but it's one that from the city side, we don't want to hold up. And so having effective counsel will help us. And Messer Fort is absolutely amazing. Love them. They're great. But their development specialist, Patty Akers, is retired. And so they've got somebody right now who's kind of helping them with development, but is also going to be a city attorney for various other cities. So that's not going to be their one sole dedicated purpose. And so if we were to contract with Trish Carls, we would have an attorney who specializes in development. You've got her resume. You can see some of the agreements she's worked on, a lot of the development. I worked with her in Georgetown. She's one of the best and really quick turnarounds, which for development, I think the mayor and I can speak to it. I'm sure it's cost us deals. And so we want to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future.
It's the same thing like we just talked about on our engineering services, is having more tools in the belt, more qualified tools in the belt. When you have just one person working on things, sometimes, you're not their only client. And so things tend to take forever, take a lot of longer time than kind of get, when you're dealing with development, time is money. So if you're dragging along for 8 or 10 months, you're not getting anywhere. Pull out of your city and start a mud. So.
You have multiple tools, sometimes your other tools work better.
That too.
And we've already seen that, just with the RFQs that went out. Because they all they submitted also, and so it's we've already seen it.
So she just assigned an attorney to us?
It's her.
It is her?
So we've already got possibly 2 development agreements that we'll have to work through. We just need to make sure we've got 1 PDD that's going to probably submit next week. And that's now that that's done, once we send that, and then we'll probably have 2 subdivisions that are ready to come in somewhat soon. They're just working out their deals right now.
Tip of that.
I'll make a motion that we.
1,000 homes between all 3 of those.
Make a motion that we engage in this agreement with the law office of Patricia Erlinger Carls to serve as a city development attorney. I'll second that.
Mr. Weaver has a motion on the table to go into an engagement agreement with the law office of Patricia Carls with a Shelton Gilmore second. All in favor? Carries 5-0. All right. Item number 15, consideration and possible action toward the utilities rate study. So here's where we take action. Talked about it a little bit ago.
So again, the recommendation from the committee was to award it to Newgen. On that, thank you. And the amount.
Amount was, you said 59,000.
59,765, according to Miss Brenda.
Question on that is, since we budgeted 45, we need to do a budget amendment.
Yeah, we will have to do a budget amendment eventually, but not tonight. We're gonna have to probably do a lump sum of amendments.
Yeah.
So, yes, 59,765. I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have on that.
Like we said, the funding is already sitting in an account. Let's do what we had for the, coming back for the EDC, we'll cover it in one sum. So that's the good news. And it will, the investment will pay off. That's kind of what we've all agreed on. So y'all's decision on this one, we just need to move on it sooner rather than later. The longer we wait, you know, the more
There's a lot of things in this.
it's gonna take us, you know, a couple months to complete it, so.
Well, luckily our 2023 numbers are being audited right now, so hopefully we've got some pretty good numbers to also give them after that's done.
We need a motion.
And if there is language in the motion, make sure to say award to Link and the amount, and if it's a not to exceed, to then also say that.
Mr. Weaver has a motion on the table.
Yeah, that we accept the proposal for the utilities rate study for New Gen Strategies and Solutions, not to exceed $59,765.
$59,765, NTE. All right, Mr. Weaver has a motion on the table to award the utilities rate study to New Gen with a NTE of $59,765. And Mr. Gilmore seconded that. And we need a vote. All in favor? 5-0.
Best decision made in this room in a long time.
Telling you, right? All right, future agenda items.
Well, this day went pretty good. Still on 6,
Huh?
We skipped it at the beginning.
Oh, do you want to?
6A and 6F, whenever they.
Went through 6F.
Well, we talked about.
We talked about it.
We talked about the Christmas party and the bonuses and the tree trimming report. Huh? Oh, you still have some other things?
Anything else?
Huh?
Anything else that
On,
y'all wanted to add?
on the,
Personnel policy or anything?
Well, this can be on future agendas. I mean, it's just, I think we need to figure out a better way to handle our information to the public. Because the information about the outage was handled wrong.
Yeah.
A couple of businesses went out of their way, sold their merchandise because they were told they were going to be out of power. They weren't. Somebody else had some inside information and went down and took advantage of that. And that's not fair. Because they had inside information that they wouldn't be out. And it wasn't known when that afternoon, when me and Chad and the contractor talked about it, none of us were told. So,
and I don't know who started that whole, she said the lineman came in
That's what she told me.
and
I said,
there
where
wasn't
did
any
you get this
lineman in town.
information? And she said, the lineman. And I said,
And she
there's
went to
not any
freaking out on
lineman in town
Facebook.
that I'm aware of.
And city.
And City Hall.
Right?
Yeah, no, that one, and that one by,
that's not fair to the other business.
oh,
Oh, I
absolutely.
agree, yeah.
And I mean, we didn't know whenever we talked to Techline, they weren't 100% sure whether or not the stopgap was going to work, you know, whether they'd be able to isolate, how it would work. And I mean, it would have been nice if we had like the previous electric lineman who set all that up to be able to tell us, but
Well, no, what we should have done, is we knew that pole was going to be changed.
Yeah.
We talked about it in midsummer. We should have had a plan then.
Yeah.
Not wait for it before they get it.
Yeah.
That's how that should have been.
Not, I'm sorry, not wait till one.
Not wait till the week before they get here to figure out how they're gonna do it, who's gonna be out and who's not gonna be out. And the bad part about that was, the week before, you were out, Stephen was out, so me and the mayor were around trying to figure it out. That's not how we should handle that kind of business. There's too much money changing hands. It needs to be done a lot more professional than that.
absolutely.
Another thing I wanted to mention to y'all, just for information, we complained about how much we pay Techline. I think we paid them $22,000 for that week.
They got a lot done that week.
They got a lot done. But last month we paid trash pickup $13,000. How many days a month are he paid here?
Yeah,
They're
but
picking up trash.
We make money off of,
We're making money off that electric too.
well, yes, true, true.
A lot more.
so we do need more trash cans in town. That's why, look, I'm telling you, a subdivision, just trash alone
Oh, I agree. It
Is-
brings in income.
is income. I
But
mean,
it ain't
it's,
nowhere close to what the electric.
I-
is.
1,000% agree, but yeah, you're right on, but
And part of what we're, as they're annexing in, one thing that we're offering is electric utility. So expanding that CCN to serve.
That's gonna be tough market.
So let me
I
ask
don't know how we're
this.
gonna pull that one off. But
Was
We'll have to figure it out.
because
The day
the-
that the
the
electric
CCN
was
is
supposed
set.
to go out, was anybody
Oh,
without
I
electric?
think if there's a ability
Besides
to
like the
choose,
German restaurant and the.
we'll have to
who
check
else?
with.
Who else was with that?
My mother-in-law's out.
Yeah, there's a few Jessica's out there. Were you out? Did you ever go out?
they never went
I'm
out.
never at home.
You were out.
Well, there was a very
But my
It
small,
wasn't near as widespread as what originally thought.
but the widespread part was only like 10 minutes for them
Yeah, just to.
to disconnect the switches. or
And
the
we were only
jumpers.
out for about 4 hours.
And then once those jumpers were disconnected and the fuses were closed back in, it was down to just that general block of the downtown area. So it's a pretty,
Before
Isolated
there
form.
was a plan come up with, it was announced that everybody's gonna be out there. She started calling for anything. And we didn't even know what the plan was yet.
Exactly.
So that was all. We can't have.
Well, when
mean,
I
we
saw
gotta be
stuff,
more professional.
when I saw stuff on Facebook, it was like, oh my gosh, the kids are gonna be out of school and they're gonna be home and it's cold and it's flu season. Maybe we could have done it in the summertime when it's 126 degrees.
We had that option.
I know, didn't we talk about that?
We did.
Well, my answer to that was if it goes down when this wind would have blown in this afternoon, it'd been out of hell of a lot longer.
Exactly.
And a lot more
and it
people
cost
would
us a lot more than $26,000,
Yeah.
$22,000, believe me. But they did get a heck of a lot done that week, I promise you. I mean,
did.
At least there was a map out showing what area was gonna be down.
we were able to pinpoint it down pretty accurate, so.
Yeah, there's just a lot of,
And, I know our former lineman left us in not the best way, but he did have it set up pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
I do have a question. I'm gonna beat this horse a little more. With these CT meters, is there not anything that we can do currently to charge these people the rate that they're due without doing a freaking rate study?
That's the next one, Bobby.
This is wearing me out.
I understand
You
this,
know-
but I understand why.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we've got an opportunity for revenue. Now we're waiting another 6 months
I don't know if
before we can even come up with a formula.
Well,
what I would like to see us do is, we should have a full year's usage on each of those meters in front of you, right? We need to figure out, and we don't need any names attached to it this time for public information. But we need to see what each meter is billed each month for a year, what their usage was, what they were billed, and what it would be.
Yeah. And
yeah, we showed you 6 months worth. We can look at the whole year.
I know, but the next part of that is, we need that for each customer, broke down on the page for each customer. Because that's gonna be your information when you go talk to them.
yeah, but-
As far as each customer, do you mean all 607
No,
accounts?
no,
Okay, just CCs.
Because I'm gonna change for
About to say,
everybody else.
whoop.
Because the thing is too, we have the Family Dollar over here, which is relatively new. What are they getting charged?
We're not getting charged right here.
I mean, are we only marking them up 3%? Or are we doing?
Yeah, they're also only getting 3 times.
I remember out there,
I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot here a little bit without,
Yeah.
by just waiting.
I think
agree.
that,
And the reason I agree with that, I know we don't want to put people out of business, but if that business was in Granger, they'd have to pay that bill.
Yeah.
If they're in Holland, they gotta pay that
Yeah.
bill.
And it doesn't matter if
We
it's.
pay for convenience to get stuff here in this town, we pay a premium price. They get a discounted price like some people did the other day, we still pay that premium price. So, and they're getting a bargain deal with electric.
I'll look at the annual use, and then the other thing that we'll look at too is every month when we get our LCRA, we see how much use is being used, right? How much are we being charged for? And so we'll also look at based on what CTs are using, what that percentage is of the total. And that'll hopefully tell us whether or not, because I know that there's been questions on, should they have CTs and, how big of power users are they really? That'll help us
If you're not
kind of,
reading the demand order, you're not gonna know that.
Yeah, but the other thing too, whether they have a CT meter or they just have a regular three-phase commercial meter, the power's power.
Right.
They're gonna pay the bill, no matter if it's a CT meter or a regular meter.
That's exactly
Right.
right.
That's what I
All the
asked.
CD does is bring it down where you can measure it. That's all it's doing.
So that's what I told, asked Myra, we talked about the other day, was comparing the LCRA. So we take these customers, that right now they're only multiplied by 3. Multiply it by the actual multiplier. Let's tally all that
their
up.
actual usage.
And then we compare that to the LCRA bill. Because LCRA, they don't know who's CT and who's not. They're just sending us how many kilowatt hours or mega, whatever, however they're charging us.
That's what I'm saying, but you do it for each meter.
True, but because I think a lot of the question in the past, couple meetings and couple discussions is, well, is that right? I mean, does that?
Are they really using that much
Does that
power?
electricity really need to be multiplied by 320? That usage, but if you look at the total usage that you're being billed from our LCRA to what we're charging, and if it's way down here,
That's not gonna work, because you got line loss. figured
we know
out.
we got line loss, but
You don't know what it is.
you're right. But it's what I'm saying is like, if we plug in those numbers and it's way up here, which is more than we're being billed, then we know we got some sort of issue and, we got issue. But it's.
I'm all for looking at it. I don't think that's gonna
It's
take
gonna-
much
it's
longer to
gonna-
know, because you've got these buildings here are not metered. Fire station, well, it's got a meter on it now, it's not that.
Yeah, but
We don't pay bills on it.
Yeah.
We don't read the meters probably. That's line loss.
Yeah.
You got lights burning all the time. That's line
And
loss.
seeing every one of these buildings should have a meter on it. That way we can track our
Yeah.
line.
Track it, yeah.
We should track our line.
Whether you pay it or not, you should track it.
But we should have an idea of what each of these businesses are using on an average of how many kilowatts they use every month over a course of a year or two. So with that, whatever our rate is, you should be able to figure out pretty close what their bill should be.
And somewhere.
Tell you what Phillips looking to on, I don't want to be that either, but the CT meter, if you use 1,000 kilowatts through that meter, if it's through a CT, it's 320, which they're not going to be here. We've only got one of those, and that's now burning. But if it uses it, all it's going to do is take 1,000 and break it down by 320, and that's what your reading is going to show on the meter. You multiply it times the 320, it's going to come out to 1,000.
Right.
If it went straight through a regular meter, we use 1,000 kilowatts, it'd be 1,000. That's all it's changing.
Yeah.
It's not changing how much they're using.
No, it's just changing.
How we're reading.
Yeah.
So if you just took the kilowatts and just multiplied it times the rate, that should give them what their bill should
Yes.
be. There's gotta be a formula to figure this out.
Yeah, we figured it out. I think and we talked about this, right? The rate, is that really the rate that they should be paying? Right? Because we haven't looked at what the true cost to serve is that customer. But again, there has been a lot of years where it hasn't been billed and it's lost revenue. And I think the question that,
The rate, they're getting the bargain deal on the rate because they're not paying the demand. The reason the rate would go down is because you're going to charge them the demand. That's coming. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
That's what that rate said it's going to be. But
and
right
I
now,
think the
In the
direction,
interim,
They
we
can
could
pay
bring
the
another
rates.
$500,000
They can pay for what they're
revenue.
using.
and I think the direction, and this is what we heard from members of the community, right? Whenever we presented this item was there has to be a way to ease it into the customer base, right? Because they've never paid it. It's going to be a shock. They're going to have to plan for it. So
I
is it,
understand
do
that.
we charge 50% of what it should be?
I think you.
We need to set a target date, tell this is when it's going to change, and have that, no, what I'm telling, that information said, this is what you should have paid last year. Starting on April 1st, you're going to start paying this rate.
Okay.
Because the thing is, it's just like the nursing home, if their utilities go over,
Well, it's not fair. We don't have.
Yeah, they'll charge more.
Same with the grocery.
We're giving away money and we don't have it. We're sitting here begging, trying to find money now, and we're throwing it out the window.
we're essentially paying their bills.
That's exactly, I'm paying it.
Yeah.
In my meter.
And with the expectation.
I'm paying 4 months, hell, let's reduce mine.
And the expectation.
Put
we get
CTs
done
in my
with the
house.
study, And then we do the LCRA.
Put CTs in our houses.
Yeah, let's put CTV in my house.
Yeah, it will, more than likely.
Most likely,
Yeah.
so if we-
Well, so we'll figure out what that year is and then we'll start to have sit-down meetings
I just think we need to do it because we can't afford not to.
I agree.
with those businesses.
I've thought about it long and hard, and after that outage deal magnified some things, I was like, let's stick in the mud.
Yeah.
And I think you can go back sometime, at one point, I promise you, we were charging the actual.
We were.
We don't have no way to find out when that was.
I don't know when it was and when it fell off the map. I don't know if it was during an assist transition or one of these other coming in and finagling money, or not money, but numbers around, you know, oh, that's too much, blah, 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 we're gonna lower it to this, not knowing what they were doing. I mean,
So let me
Another
ask
way to look at
you,
it, when we talked about having an outage, we the first one to call.
and I guarantee you, if the electric utility would have sold when they had it on the table,
There'd be no mercy on
Oh,
my.
I bet you.
they would have been found really quick. It would have been found really quick and adjusted extreme, you know, the next day. I mean, that day. I mean,
There wouldn't been no mercy.
there would have been no mercy.
No,
And
Homie ain't live here no more. You share it in town.
so,
I don't mean
But-
to horse the butt
but I think we do.
We can't throw money out the window, we don't
no,
have it.
I totally agree with you.
but we do need to have those one-on-one meetings.
We do need to
Yep.
have those.
That way they're not open up, I mean, you
What
know,
I'm hoping we can do is part of the rate study. That one guy knows his business.
Mm-hmm.
He can come down here and kind of help us, even if it's not part of that contract. He's the guy when you help us get a plan together to how to affect this. Because when we told him this, his eyes lit up, you're what?
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it.
So let me ask you, when you look at the store's bill, is it something that you go, that's it? That's all they
Oh,
do?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Well, you weren't at the meeting, the last meeting we had it up here. We're showing that, well, their bill would have been $30,000, but we billed them $360.
Yes, more
Not
than.
them, not him.
Not 30,000, but-
Meter was, but we had some like that.
They're paying less than some residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's money out of our pockets.
I want on that program.
Okay, but,
that's why I said, we're putting CT meters in at our house.
okay, but wait,
You have that slide?
I'm gonna pull up a recent bill.
look, I've had a restaurant, it didn't have anything three-phase in it. But
Them cookers can use it.
it had fryers, it had flat grill, it had a char grill, it had lights, it had air conditioning,
Heating
it
and air.
had, and if you had run at me with a $500 bill, I would have looked at my brother and said, whoa,
Yeah.
we got a problem here, cause we better call them, cause they're gonna come back.
Personally, I would have been the first one to call, because I'd have known, hey, this is gonna catch up to me.
Somebody is gonna catch up.
Exactly. But I think we've had that actually happen. Some of these people have called and just never done anything with it.
Well, maybe.
There's no
maybe
doubt
so.
that's probably true.
Yeah.
And our
So
people,
maybe
they talk
not.
their ear.
Yeah, and they just said, well, they don't give a shit about it, so I'm not either, excuse me.
No, it's,
I believe you probably right on the dot.
Couldn't have said it any clearer myself.
So the bills have been essentially around 800. This last one was a big one, 1,600 for them.
Where was that?
No say on that.
don't say.
Oh,
Don't say.
Don't cross town.
But what was it?
so there's been bills where it's been as low as 400. And that's water, electric,
Everything.
everything. And the most recent shot up, and I think that's probably because heaters are on and whatnot.
So before
Almost
we have a
1,600.
meeting, we need to have a very clear understanding of what they need to know and how to answer their questions.
Yes.
Would you not pay that? I'll put some in there right now.
I'll pay a year in advance.
I'll put the rest of it, I'll invest the rest of it, make you 5%.
We just can't afford it.
At first, I was off to just merge them into it, but I just don't think we can.
used to get like
That just-
Mhm.
They're gonna have flat back, but if, you know, if they do, it is what it is. They better be counting the blessing, because we can easily show them This is the bargain, and we could go back legally, we can go back and
I
ask
think-
back pay, not the full amount, because we don't know when it started. But I think you can go back 7 to 8 months.
I don't see that. This is pre-warned.
Even if we just stick a stick in the sand and say from here forward, here's what you're building.
And that's all I'm asking for, we don't need no back pay.
Yeah, we'd probably give them a 3-month, hey,
Yeah.
starting this
That's
month, you
money
need to.
lost. It's gone.
They gotta really understand, because they have to go up on their stuff to be able to pay those bills too.
How much more can you go up? My God,
We're
that,
already paying premium prices.
that bag of
Fuel
cookies
prices
back
in
there
town right
is
now, they're
$4 and
50 cents.
something.
I know.
God, dang.
I know. But if their bills go up, they're gonna go up too, you know.
They
that's
will.
what happens.
Well, then,
But they have to pay. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the other thing that
Well, the
should,
thing about it is, their bills were that way at one time. Something happened and the bills dropped down to 3 instead of what the actual bill was. Where that come from,
So we still have access to
I see
assist.
when that happens.
no,
when that happened,
it's all been
prices never dropped.
cut off.
hey, you got that right. You got that right. Now,
Cookies are $4.
I-
Fuel
I
prices
do.
in town have
I do.
dropped.
So much of this stuff, y'all know, we don't know, I don't know.
I just, it's too important for us to just let it sit for another 7 months.
It's way too important.
Way too important.
I'll get the data for the full year and then we'll,
I think we need to have a workshop on it, council workshop on it, get all that data together, and then we'll come in here and we
I think it would be good, like Shelton said, to get the gentleman that we're coming on the contract with, to come and say, hey, give us some feedback here, some info on how we need to deal with this.
Well, how to communicate it.
He's gonna get awarded a contract with us.
we can ask the question of how would you communicate this if you had to?
Because he had extensive, great knowledge about electric.
Even if we have to pay him to come in and for a meeting to make sure we get our story right and our understanding
Ducks in a
for
row.
everything. Cause it's gonna be a big deal.
It is.
Because when we go to present this to them, all the T's gotta be crossed, all the I's gotta be dotted.
Big time.
And we probably need them to sign a document, that we presented them all this information.
That's a good point too.
We're gonna do that as a council, but it's gonna be one-on-one. We're not gonna hear their.
I think we would probably do it, my personal thought would be do it one-on-one and just bring them in individually.
Well, I meant one.
Unfortunately, Myra, I get that job.
Yeah, it'll probably be myself and the mayor
Yeah.
meeting with them.
And you don't want, we talked about.
And we're gonna blame
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
on
being-
it. Just kidding. No, just kidding, not really.
We don't hear.
Any other thing on future agenda items? I like that. I mean, it's good. Yes, sir.
We do need to, maybe get our utility department to make a trip down through town and see who has meters and who doesn't.
Yeah, there's some people who have electricity that don't have meters.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
one of them is a CT meter as well.
See, that's.
That's the only way, without a meter, that's the only way it's gonna work without a meter, is if it's CT. You can pull a meter, if it's a CT customer, because the power is just feeding through the donut, it doesn't go down to the meter, it's just a signal wire that comes down. So you can pull the meter, and they still have electricity. We pull the meter, they still have electricity, they ain't paying for it.
Another part of that is there a cover on the tank?
Yes. And I believe it had a plastic
It did.
blanket.
Even got a blank over it.
Your nephew's the one who found it.
I'll be happy to go over there tomorrow.
Maybe an active shooter training class for Ms. Cooper. What about being like six?
She can get her arm up on her, she can raise that stick up.
I'm on the road to recovery.
Y'all leave Gimpy alone.
I'm almost there.
She can't even.
That's halfway home.
I want to bring this up again. I know that we're working on the, electric meters and then the water meters both. I still have a real concern with the 3-year implementation. And the reason being is because if we put both of them on the same schedule for 3 years, we're potentially losing revenue just on the electric side of that, because the electrical side of that, you can change meters out in this town in a matter of a week or two. Water meters are gonna take 3 or 4, 5, 6 months or more, because it's gonna take more than just pulling one out, putting one back in. Now we're gonna be doing the copper study and all that stuff to see how what they're attached to at the same time. If in the beginning we had only decided to do electric meters and weren't even doing the water meters, then we would already be moving forward. And we're paid $10,000 something to FundView to come in here and set all this up. Now they're wanting to tell us how they want us to run our business, and said we all need to do them both at the same time. My thought is, let's get the electric meters in here. That way we're billing everything up correctly. We're not having to read those meters. The billings are gonna get out on a timely fashion. They're gonna be correct. And if it's gonna eliminate rereads, all that kind of stuff, then we've got plenty of time to take a look at water meters. And if it takes 3 years to change every water meter, then it just takes 3 years.
And in addition to that, on your reading routes, you cut his work in half.
It cut his work.
Because he only has to read the water meter.
My water meter's not getting read anyway because it's been buried in mud.
From the cost perspective, I don't know if you'd be able to do it in a year. We'd have to look at that.
I'm not
Okay.
saying that. What I'm saying is if we can expedite that. Now, if revenue's coming in from
Development.
development or CT meter billing being done correctly.
Correct billing.
Yeah.
Correct billing. Now, we could probably look at that in the budget. We could probably get it done within a year.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah. And see, to me, that's a project that is done, finished.
Check it off.
Check it off the list. Don't spread it out over 3 years.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a good business move on our part.
I agree.
I really don't. I think you take an elephant and bite one off, just one bite at a time. Don't try to eat it all at once and go from there. I've said my piece.
Does these meters, when they're installed, does it show, say they can preview here at the office, does it show if it's got a water leak on their side or our side?
No.
Like your water does?
Well, I say,
Well, if it's-
I don't,
I mean,
if there's an excessive.
If it's
usage,
it's
spinning,
on their
right,
side.
it's on their side.
If it's not spinning, it's.
So yes, you'd be able to tell from the
Yeah.
office based on the usage.
and those meters
It's
up
3 in the
there,
morning and you've used 10,000 gallons, you have a leak.
Only reason I knew how Gerald is because I talked to him today about something else. And
Well, that would make sense.
they told me that, no, there's no leak.
That's a good thing about the AMI meters. Not only does it tell you what you're using, they tell you when.
Yeah.
And the sooner we get that going, the better data we have to share as well, because it's gonna keep every bit of it.
Mhm.
This time on the reading
Do we
route.
have anybody-
I'm changing that water meter.
This is a bad deal. Do we have anybody smart enough to put these water meters in besides Stephen?
The electric meters,
They're easy to put in.
Electric meters are simple,
you just
and the
plug
water
it out.
meters are simple. Our guys change water meters daily. I mean, it's,
Well, the one thing that you need to do, and we all know there's some old services here in town. If you're gonna change out the meter, we need to have an electrician on standby, because you're gonna pull one, all the guts gonna come out. It's gonna happen. When you do that, somebody can sit there, yeah, you can't let it go.
Bunch of them.
You can't let it go because it's hot.
Well,
You gotta sit there and hold it until somebody comes and kills that transformer.
but the water meters, the concern I have is that there are PVC services, copper services, galvanized services,
You don't know what it is, it's like
You
a box
have
of
no
Cracker Jacks
idea.
until you open it up.
and until you open it up, and then we're getting into having to redo the boxes, the meter boxes, if they're not already plastic. If you break something in the ground or a meter stop breaks off, I mean, you could talk in 2 or 3 hours a meter
Easily.
if it doesn't click. So I just,
This old system, it probably ain't gonna click much.
that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking it's a can of worms.
So the direction I'm hearing is move forward with electric only for right now, from the majority of the
That's my
council.
suggestion. It's up to the council how they want to do it, but
I just need to know, that way we can, again, once we know, we'll pull the trigger on
I
it.
think we're headed in the right direction with that, put it on the next agenda and we'll put it in roll.
Got it.
My two questions on that would be, and I'm fine with doing all electric, but we gotta do the lead and copper, sample testing supposedly by the end of the year. We've only got a couple, you're just, by the end of 24, I think that those are due, which means you're gonna have to go around every water meter anyways, dig them up and look at them. I mean, we don't have 600 water meters in stock, but
was that a visual test or is that just a water test?
no, we do the lead and copper water test. Remember the ones we did? This is an actual, you have to go and like look at the
Line.
the service line and the tie-in line and all that. It's some requirement, TCUQ, is it TCUQ that's
It was,
required, or is it,
I don't know if
Maybe.
I think it might be, it's federal.
So you have to
You
do
just
a
have to
visual.
document what it is, or you gotta,
You have to take, for every address, you have to essentially write lead and copper. What is not only is it lead and copper, but what is it made of? So what is the service? And we have to do an inventory for all,
from the meter to the house or to the meter?
both.
well, we'll pull up that information too.
Yeah.
We'll have
You
that.
see, my house, I've got this much copper from my meter, but the rest of it's PVC.
Right.
So how's that gonna give you?
So then you say it's copper/PVC.
But you're gonna dig my whole yard up?
No, and
inside
that's where you
You
know,
know, I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of a.
that's where you know,
I think it's
right?
gonna be at the connection point, is what they're gonna be looking at.
Yeah.
They're all brass, if you look at the meter box.
Yeah.
Shane knows about it. Shane's got some information on it.
We'll look more into it, but yeah, it's a pretty
Makes you
comprehensive.
feel better.
They're gonna start at your house.
Dumbass, stop that.
Well, they should get reading.
But
I'm sure we got a bunch of them.
so we're gonna have to do that, but also it's like, are we losing more revenue on the calibration of the water meters or the electric meters?
I would say electric.
You think electric?
Normally your electric bill's gonna be higher than your water bill. The only place I would say, well, they're getting pretty good deals at the nursing home, but, they're using a lot of water too. So,
I mean, I'm just curious. I mean,
Well, I don't know, but I'm inclined to think that electric is probably a bigger revenue.
it is a bigger revenue, but I'm just curious, are we losing more on the water because the meters are in the ground and they're so old compared to,
Oh, no.
well, probably not through the meter. I mean, you probably got leaks around.
Yeah, it's water lost through the mains and everything, I would think.
you don't think the meters are,
Reading accurately.
I mean, I wouldn't think they would be reading accurately after all these years in the ground, but I don't know much about water, but
Although sometimes the old ones last longer than new.
yeah.
But they probably run slower.
There's a little leak around our house over this last week or two. It wasn't on my side, it was on the city side.
Yeah, but that wouldn't get metered on your meter.
Yeah, I know.
It sure made a mess.
But Derek, and them, they do
There's another agenda item while we're talking about this, is do we need to somehow talk about the ordinance as far as sewer
Full now.
charges? And, the difference between commercial and residential water rates?
That'll be done with the rate study.
That'll go with the rate study.
That's part of it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was just all electrical.
No.
No, it's
all of
water.
it. Wastewater and everything, right?
Yeah, well, waste is just,
It's gonna be a percentage of your income.
yeah,
But I know the wastewater is kind of the same situation. We've got clients in town that are commercial, that are just paying a residential tap or sewer, fee.
yeah,
You think the prison was paying that when they were on this?
probably.
Well,
No, there's a lot of revenue. There was a lot of revenue lost whenever the prison closed. So it was,
But if they were paying this regular.
If there was just a 3250 though from the sewer, because that's all it is.
because all we had out there was sewer and water.
And sewer is just a
We didn't have the
base.
electric, so it was, I think, what they say, $25,000 to $35,000 a month was their utility bill. through the
That's
city.
probably all water,
So,
because wastewater isn't metered or.
Here,
And then they
take
throw
this
away-
mattress,
Well,
take this
If
pillow.
we had the electricity, we wouldn't build it right for this.
They'd still be in business.
It's got problems.
They would have their whole TDCJ in Bartlett because, man, we operate this for $47 a month.
Yeah, we had 4 prisons, that had prisoners, 5 counties.
I had one more. When we talk about rate study and stuff like this, and I would ask us to, I know we have a commercial rate and a residential rate. I think we should honestly initiate a worship center rate, like a church rate.
That should come in your rate study, because that is common.
Yeah, so there's normally what you'll see is,
Also on your school.
yeah, so there's normally a school rate, and then there's the government, which you guys put your churches in, and then you'll have to have small commercial, large commercial, and residential.
Some of them
And
go to
so
extreme
the customer
compromise,
classes is
you
one that
gotta be real
maybe
careful with that.
talked about too.
Because after doing the budget at the Baptist Church, I mean, I think last year we spent 15,000+ in city utilities. And anytime there's a tornado, which was or a threat of a tornado, that's where everybody goes, you know. And I mean, and same thing with Casa de Dios. So they open up also as a shelter. And so I think if we're asking, you know, if the community or the city is asking them to open their doors in those instances, then we could help them out also with some of their utilities. So just my thoughts.
Something that we can bring up with,
You know, I was wondering why we didn't contact the Methodist Church for that too.
I have asked them, I remember, and Rebecca was gonna give us a key.
They're on Encore, and we don't serve them. I don't remember, they're both right there in the alley, but I don't remember which one's.
I don't know, but it's so little at the First Baptist Church that people would complain that I said, remember when I asked Rebecca?
Good thing about, you know, they got the gym, but in Methodist Church, but still, it's got a basement.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the basement of the Methodist
So
Church.
And theirs honestly is probably more,
Sometimes elevator.
because the Baptist Church is only half underground, and the half that's above ground has windows all around it. And so I always said, if a tornado comes, it's gonna blow those windows out and suck everybody out of here like a 747, you know, I mean.
Well, that's kind of how that.
But
Methodist-
they don't have windows, do they,
it's
in their basement?
kitchen part,
In the,
in the kitchen area, you know.
but and their room is a lot bigger. They're like, you walk down those stairs, that
Yeah.
room's a lot bigger than what we have up here. But it's just everybody's Baptist church, because that's how, I mean, I have a key to the Baptist church, so I was open it up.
Yeah.
I don't have a key down here, and I don't think they have anybody local,
But Rebecca had said she would,
but Rebecca don't live here.
but she could give
Well,
us a
who's gonna
key.
open it?
Well, if she can sell tickets, she can open the church.
That's right.
Anyways, but,
I'll walk
okay, so
over there.
that'll be covered in the rate study also, so, anything else? All right. Y'all ready to go home? It's the longest meeting we've had in months.
Okay, one thing I want to mention.
Oh my God, you again? Go.
Since I've been quiet, he's been doing all the talking, man. There is a town around here that's, we've been talking about trying to get a roads fixed and all that stuff. There's one city around here that's added $10 to all of their utility bills for street repair.
I think
That's how
Taylor
they
has
get
something
mad.
like that. Taylor's got.
Colleen does.
Colleen does. It is something you can do. But God dang, they already bitch enough about the $4.50 fee on there. What is that for? When's that falling off? Oh my God, it's like the end of the world. Still alive, right? Cool.
We get the electric break out in Tallahatchie, okay?
But
We get the electric break out in Tallahatchie, I can put golden bricks through the roads over there.
so one thing I will say before we leave, before we call, is this council members, I would ask y'all and myself, I've gotten a lot better about it, but instead of going directly to city employees, let's go to Myra first. Okay, and let Myra work the chain of command. Okay, so we don't need to be going to a worker in the field or a worker in the office and asking them for any favors or telling them to do anything. We need to be going to Myra first and letting Myra, if we have an issue with any of the employees,
You talking to me?
I am talking to you. Don't come in here yelling at my people. You go talk to that woman right there.
I asked for a bucket truck,
There's
I
no-
haven't got it yet.
What?
I asked for a bucket truck, I haven't got it.
Yes, for what?
A bucket
Bucket
truck.
Hey, if you get it running, we might let you use it.
If you can find the keys, you can use it.
The keys are here. So,
But no, I would
They
just
better
ask,
be.
I would just ask that you come and talk to Myra. If you have, if there's an issue with any of the employees that you come across or any residents has come to you about, just go take it to Myra. Let Myra work it first. If you're not getting, if that doesn't work, then we can sit down collectively and talk about it. Okay, so I would just please, because it happens to every single one of us. You're on the council, your friends, your neighbors, whoever, somebody runs into you at the dollar store, red and white, they're gonna come and they're gonna talk to you and they're gonna ask you, they're gonna complain about something. Don't go to that person and start getting on them. Take the concerns to Myra.
I had a lot of them complain when we had to change this pole out of town. So I ain't had one come thank you yet.
No. Same. And quick pick fast with Mr. Room.
Oh, Demo?
Be nice.
Yeah, it's
I'll remind y'all that we're all still live.
Alley behind the house called Ted and Myra.
He's still mad because I won't let him on face on the hometown page.
Well, that's between you and him, but we don't need to tie that to the city.
Attorney General, blah, 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 this and that. Until they come talk to me, that's fine, but we're done with the conversation. I gotta go see my dad. I'd love to.
We need that last motion.
She's finally here, let her move, man.
Oh, well, let's go home. I mean, I'll make a motion. to adjourn.
Let's go.
Vicky, motion to adjourn.
At 9:32.
9:32 p.m. Good. Now, it took you all night to do that, Vicky.
we didn't know what to do.
They all looked at each other.
They didn't know how to do it.
Gail seconded? All right, Gail seconded.
They didn't know how to do it.
Who's second?
Gail.
Gail. All right, thank you, folks. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thanks, Miss Brenda. Feel like you've been here all day?